Hey there, I will be the Dark Arts Tour coming to West Siloam Springs, Oklahoma at Cherokee Casino. That's June 9th. June 15th and 16th, Yuck Yucks, Calgary, Alberta. And that's in Canada, our friends, our northern friends. 23rd of June, Temblor Brewing, Bakersfield, California. In Bakersfield, boy, anything can happen out there. You might go missing. You might start a family. You might find gold, baby. That's Bakersfield. July 6th through 8th, Levity Live, and that's in Oxnard, California. July 20th through 22nd, Charlie Goodnight's, Raleigh, North Carolina. August 16th through 18th, the Laugh Factory in Chicago, Illinois. You've been asking, and I'm excited to come back there to the state that my mother was born in. August 23rd to August 25, Helium Comedy Club in Buffalo, New York. And if they don't have the tickets up for sale, then hit them up and ask them why. September 14th and 15th, that's Zanies in Nashville, Tennessee. Some more dates will be added. And I'm just grateful to be getting out there and having people come, man. It's going to be fun, and we're going to do some cool stuff. We're also going to start doing some outreach where we're going to do some things for single moms in some of these cities. So whenever we go into a city and do a show or a weekend of shows, we're going to have people in advance. Listeners can submit single mothers that they know. And we're gonna get the mother a babysitter, her babysitter, so she has somebody that she trusts, and we're gonna, take care of her and a friend, take them out to dinner, and then get them a nice setup at the show, a nice second or third row seat, and just make it so a nice single mom can come out and enjoy an evening and know that her children are being taken care of. I think that's going to be really, really cool. And I want to thank our Patreon supporters, because that's what our Patreon money is going to start going towards, is paying for things like that. So really excited about that. And man, it's going to be cool. This is so cool. It's like this is going to be a fun fall. We're also going to do one other show in rural Illinois. And it's a fundraiser for the Paramount Theater, and that's in Wyoming, Illinois. Those dates will be up this week as well, and that's going to be June 29th, a Friday, 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. That's in Stark County, Illinois, and that's middle of nowhere, boy. And that's where I'm from. Not there originally, but I'm from middle of nowhere, just a different one, down in Louisiana. This episode, as always, is brought to you by Gray Block Pizza. Gray Block, 1811 Pico Boulevard in Los Angeles. They got that food, and they got that feeling, and all you need is your face. Gray Block Pizza, get that hitter. Dude, I hate to use this music again to start off our show, but I also love to use it again, and this is Shine by and that is Shine by Bishop Gunn off of the new album Natchez. And that's out of Natchez, Mississippi. And I used to work, a lot of you guys already know it. I'll say it one more time. One of my good friends who passed away, he died of addiction. And he used to he employed me to work on his farm for a few years, and I became good friends with his family right after college. And one of his sons is now the drummer in that beautiful band called Bishop Gunn, and that's their single that's hitting the airwaves, man. It's called Shine. And yeah, that just, it makes me feel good when I hear that song. And so I had to start off with that. Thanks for coming in, and welcome to you, whoever you are, if you're listening, you got your ears open, and you're sharing a moment of your time with me, man. What's going on? A lot of stuff is going on. We had, I got to go on Joe Rogan this week. We went on Joe Rogan. And Joe Rogan's, I was nervous, first of all. I was nervous because I look up to Joe so much. And for some reason with me, I think when I look up to somebody, for some reason it makes me kind of nervous. I guess, well, you want to, I don't know. It's like when you're hanging out, you know what it feels like to me a little bit? It's like you're hanging out with your big brother and his friends. And you're like, you want to, you're just, I don't know. I was just nervous. But it was wild, man. And right off the bat, Joe starts talking to me, and I love Joe. I'm extremely grateful to him. He's done a lot of nice things, small things that were really nice for me, like like he would just see me do comedy, and I've said this before, but he would just drop me a text a couple days later, the next day, and just say, "Hey, man, you had a really good set," and that kind of stuff. Like, you don't realize sometimes, like, somebody that you admire, like, telling you something, sharing something positive, supporting what you do. You don't realize how much that means to that person, and he doesn't. I don't think he doesn't probably realize it, but it's like I would get those texts and I'm like, wow, man, it's like your big bro. It's like, I don't know. It's just like it's like impressing your brother, I don't know, and that kind of stuff really just has resonated with me over the years. He's done that. And Joey Diaz does that as well. He'll call you, but Joe would do that sometimes and just hit me up and say, "Hey, man, you were really funny last night." And, coming from, my life, when all I wanted to do probably was, make people I admired, make them feel like I was part of, like I was okay. And maybe some of that goes back to like father and brother, not being present growing up and all of that. But, just when you have a male figure and it, just that support, that's really what it is. Joe's been so supportive. And so, anyway, but I was excited to be in there, and I was excited to get to hang out with him because he thinks like wild. He thinks like he's got, it's like, I think he has more than one brain in his head. Joe Rogan might have 5 or 6 brains in there. And one of the brains is probably and then he might have other brains orbiting around brains. He might have one brain that's, he might have brains in the distance, cooking elk. I mean, he's got, he continues to kind of like expand his way of thinking. And so right in the beginning, he was talking about if there were infinite universes, and if there were more than just one of you. And I couldn't even, I was so nervous, kind of, I was just, couldn't even think really that good. But then now I'm thinking, after that, I texted him the next day and I was like, man, I'm obsessed now with wondering if there are infinite universes, this is what he was saying, if so many infinite universes that there would be a possibility for you to meet your exact self. Like, say the two universes get close enough to each other somehow in orbits or whatever, and then there's, programs, you're both astronauts or something, and you meet, like, if you were able to meet your exact self, think about that, if you were able to meet your exact self. And I was just like, I left there thinking, would I like myself? Like, if I met me, like, would I like me? What would I do? What would I think? Would I think I was neat? Would I think I was tall? Would I think that I was handsome? Would I think that would I know if I were able to look into my own eyes, would I be able to like see my truths at like another dimension? Especially since most of my life, especially growing up, like I didn't have a lot of self-worth. So most of my self-worth would come from what other people thought of me. There was no, there was nothing inside of me. So everything that I knew I had to get from the outside. And so I was so hyper aware of what other people were constantly thinking because I needed to be, because I needed that next second and that next minute and that next, just to know I was monitoring how I was and if I was okay through moment to moment interaction with others. And what they would give me back, that's how I feel about myself. I was thinking like if I based my feelings off of what other people thought of me and I saw myself, would I then, like looking into my own eyes, would I be able to, just come full circle with what self-worth means and what it, and just like get to another plateau in thinking about that. But it just fascinated me. I left out of there thinking like, what the fuck? I never thought about running into myself. Would I think I had bad breath? Would I think I had like a long neck or a regular neck or a kind of a 4 out of 10, kind of a mid-range, lower mid-range neck, medium rare? Because I don't have a super long neck. And I don't think a lot of people in my family, we're not real look-arounders. Some people have a long neck. When you see those people, they're looking for stuff and they can, look behind the sofa easier and they don't lose their wallet probably as much because they got that extra 2 inches to look and to gaze. They could see fruit easier if they're looking for fruits. But when you have that limited neck, man, you kind of, you're stuck on your own little bitty. It's not really a hilltop. You just kind of stuck on, you kind of just hanging out on your own cliffside. You can't do a lot when you got that limited neck. And I come from a long line of people with limited necks. But yeah, I was just wondering if you saw yourself and you looked in your own eyes, would you, I don't know, would your just whole world explode? Like, would you just know everything? Would I like myself? It just blew my mind. If there were infinite universes, and it just blew my mind, man. So I left out of there, I think, with a little bit more thinking, and I think that's kind of what Joe Rogan does for me, is he makes me think a little bit more. And he makes me think sometimes on uncomfortable things. He makes me think outside of like the confines of the comfortable confines of things that, these templates that I was raised in or raised around or just that I saw. It's kind of like when you see, remember when you got them colors when you were a child and your mother took you to the color shop and you got that 8 box. You got that box of 8 hitters, just that little fucking, that Roy G. Biv fiasco. You got that little 8-pack, that 8 ball. You got that 8 ball. And suddenly, some dude shows up with that 64 box. And your fucking dick blew out of your ears. Remember that? Dude, I remember my nuts traveled up my body and looked out of my eye holes. Because I was just shook by the fact that some man suddenly had 56 more colors than I had. Some boy, not a man. They didn't have any men in our class, in disguise or anything. But that some boy, and it blew my mind. And suddenly you were doing different pictures and you were thinking different things. And you were like, fuck, magenta? I'm out here on magenta? And then everything changed. Cause then I would see maybe I would see somebody's shirt or hat or I would see a woman's hat at church and be like, oh, that's a magenta hat. And suddenly, you have more elements to put out into your template to put out into your world. And that's kind of, I think, that's kind of what I left out of Joe Rogan's podcast thinking. I left out of there actually just thinking. He makes me think, and I think he makes a lot of, young men and women think. He's kind of this dope ass outer space male, marine, kind of not, he's just everything. I don't know what he is, man. It's almost like if you took a whole timeline of existence and just took it like that and put it all into one person. It's like the past and, and the future and everything. And he's probably got moons. I bet he has moons going around him. I bet there's a moon way off in the distance that we don't even know about. That's just that, just that Rogan moon. But it was an honor, man. It's an honor to go in there. It's just an honor. I don't know. It made me feel, I just felt like accepted. Like he made me feel accepted, which, for me is like a really big thing, like I think a lot of my life, I don't feel that way. And so to go in and I don't even think these are things that he's, outwardly doing like on purpose. I think some of it's just his nature. I think in some ways he's like a little bit of like that big brother that like, I had my brother, but my brother, didn't live with us and like, and he, and he's had some, he's had some tough times, even though I really love my brother and I'm, I don't think I've ever been prouder of anybody in my whole life than him. But, anyway, damn boy, this shit got me gleeking out my eyeballs, dude. You know what I'm saying? I'm fucking making salt water, dude. I'm like a 6th grade science experiment, zit. But yeah, I don't know. He just made me feel accepted and just, I don't know. But I'm just grateful, man. I'm just grateful to be in an environment where I feel inspired. I get to go on some of these other podcasts, Fighter and the Kid, and those guys make me laugh, man. And they make you laugh. I know it because I get out on the road and I see these, I see Fighter and the Kid listeners, and I'm a Fighter and the Kid listener, so I know it's like there's just this wild, we're part of their party. We're part of their party, and I guess I'm just grateful to just be, just to, I guess, I don't know. I'm just grateful, I guess, to feel accepted some. And maybe, that shouldn't matter to me. And I don't know if it matters. It's not a thing like I walk around thinking like those guys didn't accept me ever, but I don't know. It's just something that I feel. So anyway, man, there was a lot more to spending time over at Rogan's, and the conversation was kind of all over, and he thinks it's so fast, and it's hard for me to, he's got Lance Armstrong in his blood. So that dude's out there. He's in outer space. He's walking on the moon. He's juggling. He's playing saxophone. He's got all kinds of things going on inside of him. And, but it was fun, man. It was exciting and it was fun. And so if you wonder what it's like to kind of go in, because I get a lot of messages like, Theo, what's it like to go to Joe Rogan's? And, is it like is it underground? Somebody asked me if it's underground, like it's a bunker. And that made me laugh so hard, man. No, actually, it's in a blimp. It is, we leave the earth and we go out there, and Eddie Bravo's the driver, and we just travel around. And so that way you get a firsthand look at some of the things that, some of the things that Joe is talking about. But yeah, man, I just had a blast. And I know that a lot of, people that are, fans of mine and friends of mine, and just being able to listen to me talk to somebody that we all admire, like Joe. I just know it was fun for a lot of us. So I was just glad to be there. What else? What else is going on? Sorry, dude, I got on these, I started dripping out the face, so that happens. Whatever. That's life, dude. That's life. Well, whatever was inside me, I'm glad it's not in me anymore, bruh. Get out. Get out of me. If you got to come out my eyes, you must be something wild. That's what I think about, emotions and stuff. Because there's a lot of ways to get out of my body. You come out my ass, come out my mouth, ears. But there must be something. There must be something special about emotions if the way that they have to get out of your body is they have to crawl out of your eyes via water and salt. Which are the two, which I think, look, bottom line, water, salt, sunlight, that's what it all is out here. That's the bottom line. If you crack me open with a baseball bat, or if a couple of Vietnamese dudes kick me open, I bet that at the end of it all, you break me all the way down, and I'm just water and salt and sunlight. I bet we all are. But there must be something special about emotion. If the way that it gets out of you, think about, dude, you have pores all over your body. Whatever those feelings are, when you feel something and it emotes out of your eyeballs via salt water. I mean, that's the dark arts right there. It's a beautiful dark art, but that is a dark art. I'm thinking, it has to, dude, it could come out of any of your pores, ears, eyes, butt, wiener. What if you cried out of your wiener? Imagine that, dude. Imagine, dude, some kid, he's just all pissed and his dad's about to come whoop him because he stole something. Maybe he stole a couple of, extra, cuts of cabbage or something. They were doing cabbage soup and he snuck up by the cutting board and just grabbed 2 little cuts of cabbage and ran off to his room and just fucking, rabbit faced those bitches into his belly. And now his daddy's pissed and he knows his daddy's about to whoop him. And he's just sitting there and he's got to cry. But how he does it, he just breaks his wiener out and just straight up just tears up right out into a beautiful stream, just a beautiful stream of sadness flying out of his wiener right out the window. I mean, could you imagine? But that's not how it works. You don't feel sad and then, and then tears come out of your butt. That's not how it works. There's something that happens inside of you when you feel something emotional where it climbs up out of your chest, through your throat, and comes out your the potholes to your soul, baby. It's pretty powerful, man. It's powerful stuff. So, and I know I get into my feelings sometimes, dude. I just didn't have them a lot growing up, and I think I'm just kind of grateful to have some of them now. But thank you guys so much for being here with me, man. And thanks for anybody that checked out being on there with Joe Rogan. Man, I just can't, it's just fun. Man, it just was fun, dude. It's fun. You go in there and they got this scary, they got like a mountain cat. I don't know what they killed, dude, but he kills everything. He could kill. I mean, dude, I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, dude, I looked him in the eyes at one point and I asked him, I don't know if I asked him if he'd been outer space or if he, if he knows, if the government tried to get to him, and he said no to me. And I believe him, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has like a shuttle or something. Dude, he could be out there hunting fucking space bears. Would you be shocked? Would you be shocked if Rogan showed up in a damn space bear fur coat? I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be, man. I wouldn't be at all. And if we got to send anybody into space to do it, I'd send him. I'd send him 100%. He's kind of like the leader. But anyhow, man, yeah, I don't know why I'm just kind of rambling on that. I guess it's just on my mind and heart. And then a lot of people were asking me. Yeah, and it's like, but the best was, is it underground? That was the best. That was the best thing I've heard. So thank you to whoever sent that in to me. Today's episode is brought to you by Ridge Wallet. And Ridge Wallet is, a lot of times you see a man and you see their butt, and a woman too. And sometimes a hardy lesbian, they want to roll like this. And you see their butt, but you also see something on their butt. You're like, what is that on their butt? It's like their butt has just like something on it. And that's a wallet that's in their pants. But it's weird, And so now you got the new Ridge Wallet, and that's that front pocket carry. And this is that beautiful hitter. And the thing is you put your stuff in here and you carry it with you. You don't have this big old Galapagos turtle living on your ass cheek like you used to with that old wallet. And dude, think about what's in your wallet. You got that picture of your girl you used to, bust down on back in the day, 8th grade. You got headshots. You got Olin Mills picture. What the fuck are you doing? You got them condoms you ain't never used, bruh. And you're married now. You've been married for a decade. Get rid of that junk. Get rid of that old specimen, that old petri dish you carrying around. That thing smells. Smell your wallet. Come on. So now you get that new front pocket carry. That's ridgewallet.com/Theo. It's 10% off. Look, man, go check it out. And I didn't like mine at first. I'll be honest with you. First 3 days, I was like, ugh. Since then, all 58 days since then, complete savagery, bruh. Enjoying my life being in my front pocket carry, bruh. What's in your carry? I want to remind you to check out My West Coast Buds. That's a new podcast, and that's by Joe DeMayo. And Joe is he's kind of a connoisseur. He's like an everyday man sort of connoisseur. He likes cannabis, coffee, he likes comedy, and he likes spirits. And I'm not talking ghosts, I'm talking about alcohol. He likes, unless a fucking Grim Reaper shows up with a shot of gin, then maybe he likes it all. And he is a unique character, and he owns a dispensary in Tigard, Oregon called Coral Cove. And Joe will talk to you about everything that he goes through up there and what it's like making whiskey, making jokes, a lot of how-to. It's kind of an inside baseball look at those industries, selling dope, doing all of that. So check it out. We'll have the link below, and that's My West Coast Buds. What else is going on, man? Let's get into some other things. I'll tell you about something. They had that school shooting. I know people don't like thinking about it, but I was thinking about more like, and God bless everybody. And, that, if you have a family member or anything that's, how to deal with that or any of these, it's becoming such a commonplace thing. And I was talking to one of our producers, Nick, earlier. And and Nick's a beautiful young man. He might have been a premature baby, but that's, he could, and I don't know if you ever shake being a premature baby, but I think he's mastered as well as any man could. He's a, handsome young fella. And anyhow, what happened, I was talking to him and he was saying, well, once something happened, cause it's like, why does this keep happening? Why does this keep happening? And one of the things is once something happens the first time, then it happens more. Like, and the more I think about it, like, yes, I think it has a great deal to do with mental health. Yes, I think that these high profile, fast action assault rifles and shit, I think that I don't know if we need those. I've never seen a hunter have like 1,100 deer running at him, with pistols on their hoofs. You don't have 70 raccoons, coming down on parachutes. You don't have any, on them raccoon shoots just dropping down, and you got to mow them all out. We don't have that. So it's like, do we need that? I go back to the old days. So you got to load and show. And that seems more, fair. But, but anyway, our producer, Nick, I was talking to him, he was saying, I think it's because once it happens once, then other people see it. And kids do what caused the most harm, I guess. A sick anyone will think that way. I think you didn't see it a lot in the past because it hadn't been done yet. You don't see somebody learn to juggle or try juggling until somebody else, been working with magic balls in the air. And once it's done that first time, then you see more of it. And so I think that has a lot to do with it. Why does this keep happening? Because it's happened once. And people see the effect, and they see, you have a kid that's probably somewhere inside of himself is mentally broken or so broken, and he just, and the devil gets him, and he wants to do bad, and he wants to, he doesn't see any difference in making other people outside of him feel the pain that he feels inside of himself. He can't differentiate between if that's okay or if that's not okay. Or maybe he just thinks it is okay. Maybe he thinks or I hurt so bad that everyone should hurt. And so he busts down like that. But yeah, I don't think we need these high-powered weapons. What? Or also, how about that little liaison period from when you want the weapon to when you get the weapon? How about that? Let's give a little more time. Look, there's no reason that I need a passport sometimes immediately. I get that. You need that passport within 3 days. You got a surprise trip. You're leaving. But I can't think of a super good reason that I need an AR-15 by Thursday. Can't think of one. And if I do have a reason, there's nothing logical as to why that couldn't wait another week. So it's just horrific and it's tragic. And, young people are mimics and they do what they see. They little monkeys. Young people are little monkeys and they do what they see. And so I didn't mean to bring it down by talking about that stuff, but I know down there in Texas, we have a lot of listeners in Texas, and Texas is one of my favorite states. I mean, Texas is the kind of state where you show up and you do your work and you live your life, and you show respect and other people show respect, and that's how life is. And I've always loved Texas. And it's just a tragedy to see some of this kind of stuff just continue to happen. But I've said before, we should have classes. There should be a class. I don't give a fuck about social studies. I don't give a shit about spelling. There should be classes in school where you learn to express your feelings and let other people express their feelings and how you work together on that. And how you can just know if you are talking to a friend, if they're okay or not. Or how if you're not okay, you could try to share some of that shit, man. And I know some of this stuff might sound like weakness and everything, but I don't think it is. I think it's the toughest thing you can do is, teach young people how to be vulnerable and help them learn. Cause fuck, dude, I got to do this. I'm in these programs now and I'm doing this shit now and I'm 38, bro. I'm a straight up adult, You want to catch me in 40 years, bro? You can catch me in the G yard, son. I'll be 6 feet down. A couple brothers throwing dirt on me, shoveling out. I'll be trying to crawl through the dirt, just bones only, trying to catch a little bit of marrow out of some maybe sweet gal that's about, a couple plots over. Because I'm going to be that dark artist when I'm in the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Just because I'm in the grave doesn't mean I'm not going to be, trying to get out there and get a little bit of Cossacks or a little bit of tailbone, or not tailbone, but is there any bones in the vagina? You know what I'm saying? I don't think vagina bone. What is it? Damn, I don't know, dude. I think I felt a bone down there or something before. Not like but I think there's, what's holding the vagina up? Some kind of bone? Whatever that is, boy, I'll be peeking out of ant farms and stuff. Once I'm buried, I'm not done. And I'm not going to be a ghost boy. I'm going to be that underground rattler. I'm going to be down there just sifting through sand face first. Can you believe that's the most gangster thing about snakes, dude? They go face fucking first through the dirt. What? Dude, I lose my shit if I walk into a cobweb. A snake do face first forever, wherever they go. They do not have that fear in them. They are the devil's phalanges, and you know that. And I know some people like them and stuff like that, but every now and then a snake chokes out an old lady in Tucson. That's once a month. A snake will put a senior citizen into a hard scarf. A snake will just drop that hard scarf on a senior citizen, and next thing you know, they wake up in heaven. So a snake is a very dangerous animal. What else? What else is going on, man? I'm still on Paleo's diet, and dude, it's getting easier. It's getting easier, and I feel better. And I talked about it last week, but I don't have any body gas, dude. Dude, I could count on 2 fingers the number of times that I've had body gas. And that's been truly beautiful. Because look, dude, I had gas for years, to be honest with you, probably most of my life. And it's fun. I get it. Sometimes, changing the whole environment of a room with a secret weapon is exciting. I'm not going to say that shit isn't exciting, dude. It's like having David Blaine fucking pop up out of your butt. Suddenly everybody doesn't know what the hell stinks or who did it. It's like Agatha Christie is straight up living in your asshole, bro. That's straight up, that's beautiful, making mysteries like that. Just making air mysteries. But it's nice to not have that. It's nice to not be chatting with somebody and you can't even think because, dude, at a certain point and I know this is probably a little grotesque and below some people's education level. And if it is, then fucking take a hike because I'm smart too. But maybe I'm just not talking about, glacier melt right now. Maybe I'm not talking about, birds, how long birds' beaks are, or the NASDAQ. Maybe I'm just talking about regular life. But it's crazy, dude. I noticed this for me. When I used to have body gas a lot, if I had in your stomach a fart, we'll call it a fart because I don't know if they have a better term for it yet. But a fart it almost starts to develop a brain a little bit because you're like, damn, this thing, it's like thinking because you got it. You got it. Nobody knows you got it. And it starts to know it got you at some point. When it gets close to that cliff, it starts to know that it's in control. And you start to feel it think a little bit. Does anybody know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about fart think. And I think that's a real condition. I think that's a real condition for the future. What else is happening, man? What else can we talk about? Oh, look, man, a lot of things. A lot of things have happened. We had a lot of beautiful voicemails that came in. And I'm going to get to those, some of those. We'll go through them. We'll keep talking about other stuff. It was just a crazy week, getting to go in and talk with Joe and just, just be around somebody that I just look up to and that I watch on stage and that, he inspires me sometimes to be fearless and to say what I think. And especially in Hollywood, this place doesn't want you saying what you think. It's like, sometimes I'm happy to be here and I want to work in this industry, but it's crazy to me. I just even look at like how Hollywood is suddenly like, suddenly it's like, so it's all about diversity, but 2 years ago, black people had to beg to be on the Academy Awards, and that's not the kind of, I don't know. I just don't trust this industry sometimes. And maybe that's just business. And I need to ball up a little bit. And that's fine. Look, I'm out here to learn. I don't know. I'm out here to learn. Let's take this call that came in about their weekend. Every week you can call and leave a voicemail on the hotline. The hotline is 985-664-9503. And that hotline mostly has all types of things people calling. And look, I can't even tell you how many calls we get. A lot. And that doesn't mean that we don't care. It's just hard to sometimes get back to all of them. Some of them are people, yerking off and, there's a couple of voicemails, people fucking couples and men only and everything happening. Some lady's training, I don't want to say parakeets, but it sounds like parakeets, or she has twins with like real high pitched voices or something that are, I don't know if they're eating seed or something. It sounds hella sketchy, bro. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff on there. It's just not even real stuff, but we go through it all, and some things we can get to and some things we can't. If you call and left a voicemail, don't feel bad. It's not a rejection. It's just, right now it didn't fit into the episode, or maybe we'll do it in the future, or maybe call back at some other time. But thank you for everybody that's called or texted. What do I want to do? Oh, I want to play. Every week you can call and let me know if you had a great weekend or a bad weekend. Let us know how it was. And each we'll play some every week, and we'll put a contest winner at the end of each month for this past week and how it was, great, bad, whatever. Here's a weekend story that came in right here.
Hey, what's up, Theo? I'm a college student. I'm studying biology, and I've been supporting myself by working a third shift at a gas station, kind of in the ghetto of the city my college is in.
Dang, dude. Good luck, man. That sounds like a place where people get murdered a lot. No offense. And I hope and I hope everything's good with you, especially since you're still in college. Biology, man. Biology was crazy, dude. Remember biology? You didn't know anything. Next thing you know, you're cutting into a frog. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you're running around with a frog heart on your fingertips and showing it to the ladies. Every answer in biology, mitochondria. That was the answer on every test. It was all mitochondria. Sometimes it was cytoplasm. Boom. If you are in 7th grade and you are still looking for answers, that's the answer to everyone. Thank you for calling, young brother. Onward.
And it's usually all right, but last night about 6 guys came in, and they just bought a gas can and put like 2 gallons of gasoline in it, and they seem really calm, real chill, man.
Oh, and that's sketchy, man. When you show up and you just get that gas can, gas only, that means you're out of gas, or that's arson. And a lot of times when arson happens, that's either insurance money or somebody has like a sleeping family member or something, and they's about to change the game, and they about to, really just change it all and maybe end up on Dateline. Let's hear more.
Nice guys when they left, but they came back like 2 hours later, just high as fuck, probably on meth. They were freaking out.
Probably on meth or probably on gas, dude. I remember on Halloween one time we ate some mushrooms, some of them beautiful little fucking land creatures. And one of my buddies, Todd, tried to drink some gasoline and had to go actually to I guess he went to the emergency room. But let's hear more.
And they were trying to return the gas can because it was like $12, but the store policy is you can't return gas cans once there's been gas in them. So they were like yelling at me and talking all at once, saying they were going to stab me if I didn't and cut my head off and shit.
Damn, cut your head off, bro. That's a Greyhound bus move, bro. That's a finishing move on the Greyhound bus version of Mortal Kombat. And I don't know what the cheat code is to open that up, but let's hear more.
I was a Marine out of high school, so I'm not afraid of any man, but, 6 make me really concerned.
Semper Fi. Do you hear that confidence in that man's voice right there? Dude, that's the kind of stuff that I wish I had, man. Just hearing you say that, I'm a Marine, so I'm not worried about any man. But 6 of them make me concerned. That's gangster, dude. That's awesome, man. Thanks for your service. I got to, I was fortunate enough to get to go do some tours of just as a comedian. And we went to, I think I maybe did 5 or 6, trips overseas. And you go on those bases, boy, and look, Navy does their thing, Air Force does their thing, Army does their thing. But when the Marines show up, they go first. Marines go first, man. And it's just, impressive group. Let's hear more, bro. This sounds like it's not going well, bro. Those dudes want that $12 back. I mean, you got that policy. Let's hear more. No gas. Once you got gas in the can, that's yo can.
They ended up yelling at me for the gas can for a little bit more, and they bought like $400 of random gas station food shit and like a lot of lottery tickets. A fuck ton of them. They ended up leaving on their own. Oh,
lottery tickets. Yeah. If you're huffing gas, bro, you'll definitely, you'll take a chance to win $500,000, dude, by just scratching on something. Because if you're huffing gas, you usually used to scratching your skin. You'll scratch your own chest hair off. You'll have just a little, kind of bloody ball of fur and hair and skin. But, so yeah, lottery tickets. I mean, that's a methamphetamine. I mean, that's everything. That's a full-time job for a methamphetamine addict because they got the itch in them naturally, and now they're putting it to work for that chance at $50,000 paid over 100 weeks. Let's hear more.
Spent like $400, $500 on them, and then they left, told me I was a fuck, and that was my weekend.
They left and told you were a fuck. That's hilarious, bro. Well, look, man, I commend you, dude, working in the, in a tough neighborhood in the ghetto. I mean, I don't know if it's the ghetto. You said it's a shady neighborhood, but I commend you, dude, because, that's a tough area a lot of times. People out there, eating honey buns and drinking fucking diesel. You get a couple of, young soldiers hopped up on some 91 octane, and next thing you know, they want to fucking fist fight and you just trying to mop. You just trying to fucking, you could just have you got a brain, you just had a brain freeze because you're on your ninth slushy and you back there brain freezing trying to fucking push that hot mop around. And these Muppets are straight up, they come in all jawed up. One of them just lit a cigarette, forgot he's drinking gas, and now he's one of the flaming lips, and shit gets fiasco time, and everybody wants Fritos. Dude, it's savage out there, man, and I commend you for working on the front lines. That's the front lines of American war right there. The man that's working overnight, trying to make it through school, trying to learn about biology, and just fending off straight fucking night Muppets. Trying to get that $12 back. Gang, gang, baby. Take care of yourself out there. Thanks for calling. I appreciate that, man. I remember, did I ever work at a gas station? No. One time my buddy got sick and he worked at a gas station and he's like, dude, I need you to take my shift. And I'd never worked there. And I went and I did it, man. I think I stole about $30, dude. And I stole almost so many Otis Spunkmeyer cookies, dude. I fucking was sick. In the morning, dude, come sunrise, I was sick to my stomach. But that was fun. Those are the good old days. Let's take another call, man. What do we got here? Onward.
Hi, this is Ellen calling in from Virginia Beach, and this is some advice for Nicole who's dealing with an alcoholic boyfriend.
Oh yeah, we had we got a response from last week's call. This is for Nicole dealing with an alcoholic boyfriend. She called at the end of last week's episode. Let's hear more. Thanks for calling, Ellen.
Nicole, you're in a life or death situation right now, and this is what you need to do. You need to get on the phone, and you need to find a place where you can take your boyfriend where he can go through a medical detox. If he tries to do it by himself, he can have seizures. He can die from alcohol poisoning. He cannot do this alone. He needs a medical professional. And with that being said, he also needs to get to an AA meeting as soon as possible. There are intergroup numbers all over the country that you can call, and there are also apps where you can find the closest meeting to you. Have him get a sponsor, have him get the big book, have him do 90 meetings in 90 days, and get serious, get committed about your future with him if you still think that there is one. And let me tell you something. I speak from experience. I was living in Las Vegas for almost 3 years.
Ooh, that sounds hellish right there, boy. Las Vegas, dude, anything could happen out there. You put it all on the table. They got women wearing those hats with the feathers on them. You can get fucking, you're like peacocks trying to fuck you because they think, it's false advertising you're running around with on your dome. They got escorts, cocaine, bruh. And the cocaine's good because there's no humidity in the air. Cocaine will keep. Let me tell you that. That shit will keep out on a counter as long as the humidity's down. And you keep the air conditioner off and no ceiling fans, boy. Great way to end a cocaine party is somebody just fucking flipping on the fan switch. But let's hear a little more advice. Thank you for calling in about this, Ellen.
3 years with a fighter pilot, and he was also a poker professional. And I had to leave. I left the relationship. It was the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. To this day, I still cry about it. But I look back on it now, and I just think about where would I have been if I'd have stayed with him?
And that's the truth. You got to think about yourself long term there. She's calling with Laura had some issues last week. And look, Ellen, I know you're telling her you need to get this, your man to a meeting and you need to get him to a professional. He needs to get himself. And I'm not discrediting what you're saying. These are all great suggestions, Ellen, especially from a woman that's been there. But he needs to get himself, and she needs to get herself some help. She needs to get to some Al-Anon meetings, or she needs to get in a better place where, there's codependency meetings. And these are suggestions. Look, I'm not a lady. I never had a man that, loved me and would just also maybe took advantage of my love because he wanted to do dope and not take care of himself. I never had that. But I know that you can't, people will have to want to help themselves, and that you can only help so much. And when Nicole called in, she sounded really at her wit's end. So, But look, you heard it from another lady. Nicole, you got to start taking care of yourself and get that man in a detox, and he needs to take care of himself. Because if one of y'all ain't taking care of yourselves, then what's y'all going to do? Neither one of y'all's taking care of yourselves? You both going to figure it out? Fuck that. Fuck that. I'll be honest with you. Because look, I'll tell you what happened. I saw two mentally challenged people making out one time at a stoplight. Outdoors, not in a vehicle. And I called the police. And I regret it sometimes, but I could tell, man, I've spent time, dude. One of my best friends growing up had Down syndrome. I've spent time around, I've spent people that are mentally lit, some of God's favorites. I've been around, and some of them will fuck. Some of them want to party. They're just like us. They got that limbic system just like us. They got, the dirty, dark arts just dangling off the base of their spine and the base of their brain, that little brain stem, that thing's lit up with just, eggplant emojis and, little umbrellas with semen emojis hitting the top of them. And so they want to party just like us. And I could tell that these two at the stoplight they were thinking about sex. And so I called the police, and the lady said, well, why? What is this about? And I said, well, if those two people make a child, the chances of that child being comfortable and well in its own skin, probably not super great. And I know that's me jumping to conclusions. That might be me playing a little bit of, moderator in the universe. But it's just like, if they can't help themselves, if they're not in a place where they can be super well themselves, then they can only do so much together, those two people at that stoplight. And they can kiss and hug and pleasure each other and that kind of thing. But when it comes to, we're going to start something new together, we're going to start a small business, or we're going to make a child, I don't know. I don't know if that's the best move. And that's just where I see you at a little bit, Laura. And thank you, Ellen, for calling in and giving some suggestions to her. This is the first time we've ever had it. We have a video call that came in, and this is on Live Raise, and the link will be in our information below. And this is via their fan line. And Saturday I did a chat on Live Raise, and the cool thing about Live Raise is you can submit questions, video questions. So you can submit a question on there. When I'm on live, you can submit a question. It goes to the fan line. It's a video question where you can ask whatever you want, and then we can take those questions and we can put them onto the show. So I'll be going on next Saturday again, and you'll be able to get on there and submit video questions and get them onto the show. And we have our first one ever. And let's get to it right here. Here we go. You'll be able to hear it on the audio, and you'll be able to see it on YouTube. This is our first ever Live Raise video question via their fan line. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, longtime fan. First.
Wow. And look, some of you guys heard that voice. You might think this man is a beautiful urban gentleman. That beautiful mahogany superhero. It's not. This boy, man, he looks like Chef Boyardee's kind of grandson a little bit. That, used to sell grams, but also makes a mean fucking ratatouille. You know what I'm saying? This boy looks like he looks like the real deal. Let's hear it. Here we go.
Hey, Theo, longtime fan, first time caller.
God, what did he eat? Detroit, man. This dude, he has so much soul. He has so much sultry soul in his voice, man. Yeah, let's hear more.
I'm just wondering, what's the right amount of shrooms to take when you go and see Joey Coco Diaz? I just saw him. I dropped an eighth.
Wow. Man, I'll say this. Joey Coco Diaz is there's nothing like him. It's like getting to be in the middle of a tornado, but the tornado is made out of joy and laughter and fun. And that Joey's heart is so good that no matter what he says, that it's edgy and fun and whatever, and it's real to him, but that his heart is good. So you know that he's joking. And it just hits you at a core of what's wrong with a lot of our world today, is that everybody just goes on what people say but nobody's at all looking at where people's hearts are at. And you can tell it immediately. You could tell where people's hearts are. It's the easiest thing to tell. You know, in Coco Diaz's heart it's in the right spot, baby. I mean, it's almost like, who's that John Wilkes Booth or something? Who's that famous designer? Guy that does buildings. Who draws buildings? Frank Lloyd Webber. It's almost like Frank Lloyd Webber designed exactly where to put Coco Diaz's heart. So you know everything in there is fun because you know he's coming from a place of good. And so no matter what he says, it's fun, and it's fun for everybody. And man, taking shrooms on it, whoo, I don't know. But you said, bro, you had fun, man. You guys got to see this guy. If you look at him on the YouTube, man, he's a beautiful guy. This guy's beautiful, and he went in there shroomed up. This sultry gentleman right here, he went in there shroomed up and got it done. I couldn't take any, but I'm glad you did, man. I'm glad you went there. I bet it's a beautiful way to see Diaz, because it's almost like, when you're on mushrooms, you want to see something natural. You want to see something real that came out of the universe. You want to see something special. And Joey Diaz is the only comedian ever. I was talking with Joe Rogan about this the other day. The only comedian ever where I found myself standing out of my seat, cheering and laughing at the same time. Like it's fucking 1910 and a warship with my dad just came back to the shore in San Diego. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd never done anything like that in my life. Out of my seat, cheering. What? And I was doing that, and I was living like that because he has a special gift. And Joe Rogan says this a lot. It's like, what is people's intention? That's what matters. What is somebody's intention? Because that's what's killing comedy. And the truth is, I don't think things are killing it anymore. I think you have guys like, you have guys who are funny with good hearts, who are out there fighting every day for comedy to be based on intention. And I think that it's coming back around. And that's why I follow, guys that I follow. And that's why I look up to guys that I look up to, because they're pioneers. This old shit of being offended by everything, that shit is done, bro. You want to live there? Then you choose to live there. That's a choice. Oh, somebody can't say this. People can say whatever they want. What's their intention? Look, you want to use a racial slur? Go use it, but go use it around that race. See how that works out for you. Dude, I grew up in the South, man. You want to drop an N-bomb around somebody that might have a different skin tone than you? You're going to learn really fast that that's not a comfortable choice. Because people know people's intention. Intention, man, that's what, and that's where I'm trying to live. And that's where these guys live, man. So Coco Diaz, I don't care if you saw him and you were on your last leg. I don't care if you out there, drinking bone marrow out of a can because you might not make it. Any condition you see him in, that's a beautiful condition. But that 1/8, boy, whoo. That sounds good, bruh. That's what I like about them mushrooms, boy. When I used to eat them mushrooms, dude, you start fucking looking for yourself. And that's crazy because you are yourself. And that's a beautiful treat. Let's go to another call that came in. Thank you guys for calling. And thank you for that live raised fan line question. You can do those now. And so we just want to add another element to the YouTube where people can see what's going on. And that's live raised. You can check out their app, check them out through Instagram, and we'll have the link below. And that way on Saturday when I go live, I'll let you know when I'm doing that. I'll put it in my Instagram story. You can jump on there and submit a question. And I won't answer it then, but I will answer it on next Monday's episode. Here we go. Another follow-up call from last week's episode of this past weekend.
Yeah, this is Kevin from New Jersey calling about the dude who, his sister, 19-year-old's banging the 39-year-old dude.
Yep. We had that call last week. The gentleman called. His sister was 19 and dating a 39-year-old. Onward.
I think for sure he needs to beat his ass. He needs to put a stop to that. That's definitely the dark arts. And just the fact he's got to call the hotline and ask for suggestions is kind of questionable, but...
Yeah, yeah. You would think for most people it is questionable, you know? Let's hear more, Kevin.
Anyway, that's it. Thanks, man.
You bet, man. Thanks for calling, bro. And that's how they handle it over there in New Jersey. That dude's doing that. You got to tighten that ass up on that dude. 39-year-old, you know, and he's staying up at night and just licking the freckles off of your 19-year-old sister's neck. Dude, I'd beat those freckles out of that man. I think I would, but then look, I look at my own life and I'm like, well, shit. My mother was 32 when I was born. My father was 70. So what is that? Nope, somebody should have probably whooped somebody's ass there, but then I don't even exist. You know, there's different sides to it. There's different worlds. And look, I don't think it was right, probably what my parents did, you know. I mean, I think my father was probably looking to, you know, create just more of a legacy, something, anything to keep him living, to feel like he was living more. And being virile as a senior, you know, when you spraying out and that spray is growing up and going to kindergarten, you know, that's got to make you feel, you know, voracious, and you can keep moving forward. But thank you for calling, Kevin. And a shout out to everybody in Jersey, dude. People always look down on New Jersey for different types of shit, man. Fuck that. Jersey's the realest, bruh. You can't even get real in Manhattan anymore. You can't get mugged in Manhattan. Go on. Even the pigeons, bruh. All the dopest pigeons are the ones that'll shit on you. They're all out in Queens now. They've been evicted. All the best pigeons that, you know, them carrier pigeons, every now and then you see a pigeon with a fucking gram of blow in its mouth. You know, one of them little freaking short baggies. You can't even see that in Manhattan anymore. That shit, so it's the elites. Elites only. That's what they should call Manhattan. You can't find you can't find a poor person in Manhattan. That's for rich only, bruh. You can come visit. You know, you could ride the big bus through the middle, that double decker. But if you want to, you can't get shit on by a real bird anymore. You can't even get stabbed in Manhattan. Dude, when I was the first time I went to New York, dude, I dropped a dildo in a damn bodega. And, you know, and shit got weird after that or whatever, before that. But that was Manhattan. You know, they had a dude jumped off a building back in the day when I was there. And they had a senior citizen lady out there with this skirt on. And she goes, "Did you see it?" And I'm like, "Did I see the guy?" She goes, "Did you see it?" I'm like, did I see what? The guy jump off the building? And then she straight up showed me that bird holster, bruh. This lady just showed me her crotch out of the blue. And I was like, what? And that was New York. That was Manhattan. Now you want to get real, you better go into the boroughs. You better go in Brooklyn. That shit, it's real, but is it? You can't find any newsies out there. Where the newsies at? They're all out in Queens now. Bronx. Fat Joe country. They're all out in Hasbrook Heights. They're out there. They're out there in New Jersey. That's where they're at. All them real boys moving out. It's for the elites, bruh. Is it? Maybe I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Have you thought about that? Think about that as well. All right, let's get to another call here. Here we go.
Hey, what's going on, Theo? This is Rico here from Downey, California.
What's up, Rico, out there in Downey? And I've been out there by Downey before. I ran out of gas out there one time. And man, this is, you know, where I think it could have honestly was one of those people at a service station. You know, it could have been a man, could have been a woman. They were real, you know, they had a lot of dirt and, you know, smog had really heavily affected by the smog in their hair and everything and pores. So anyhow, a man or woman tried to climb in my sunroof, dude. and I was fending them out, and then all they wanted was a hit of my big gulp. So I fucking gave, this person a hit of that big gulp, and then they gave it back to me. And then I'm like, well, what the fuck? I don't want it anymore. So I rolled down the window and gave it to them full. And so that's, I think, a lot of time a trick sometimes of these, I guess these are just kind of soda pop spies, really, because they spy and they see somebody hitting a big gulp and they come in through the sunroof. And then they get that sip and then they know you're not going to want the rest of it. But anyhow, I got taken advantage of. Thank you for calling, Rico. Onward.
Just listening, I wanted to call in about our old boy who has a 19-year-old sister. Fuck, dating that, 39, 35-year-old man. I tell you what, man, I got a sister, she's almost 17 years old. And if I found out, she was dating some guy that was 39, I'd call him up. Hey, man, I need to see you, and we need to have a face-to-face, a man-to-man conversation.
There you go, right there. Now, that's a good point. That's a really good point. And this makes me think, too, even back to my own existence. My mother was 32, so that's different. This is a 19-year-old. My mother was 32, making at least 32-year-old female choices. Let's hear more.
And when he met me to have that conversation, look, I'm 23 years old. I meet him up. I tell him, hey, man, I'm trying my best. Everything in my body tells me to whip your ass right here, right now. Everything in my body wants to put a little jujitsu on your neck and snap that shit, brother.
Damn, boy. They change it, man. They switching up vertebrae, dude. Rico's about to play Jenga with somebody's vertebrae over there. Let's hear more.
I tell him, look, man, she's not even out of her teens yet, bro. Not even out of her teens yet. And you got some fucking old, saggy, bald, wrinkly fucking body, no hair, because he's losing it all, motherfucker, hollering at your little sister? No way. Tell him he'd never be welcome into the family. Don't tell him never to be comfortable around me. Don't ever be comfortable around me, and it's gotta end, and you can't control her, and you can't control him. But let him know he will never be welcome in that family. In that family.
Wow. There you go. And I love that line that you said, you never be comfortable around me. Oh, that's a savage line right there. And that's a respect to a level of respect. And it's also showing up and it's showing respect. You're not whipping the dude's ass, but you're letting him know point blank, you do not ever be comfortable around me. And that brings me back, my sister and my brother used to live together for a little while. And man, my sister dated all kind of wild cats. And I think that just in our family, we've dated, we don't date well. And one time a man showed up and honked the horn. This man my sister was dating. And boy, my brother ran out there and he told that man to get the fuck out of there. He said, you're going to come and pick my sister up for a date. You're going to come in and you're going to come to the door and you're going to knock. And that was, that's the kind of thing that needs to happen. That's the kind of thing that needs to be done. As men, we have to, we have to embrace our sisters and we have to hold them up. We have to get out of our own lives sometimes, out of what's going on with us, and hold men that they spend time with accountable. Because my sister got she got really, abused and stuff like this by men that she dated. And I don't know, I don't know if I'm not trying to put her story out there or anything like that. Maybe she'll come on one day, but she got, and this happens to a lot of women out there. But, and I didn't know my sister then, we weren't close, but, as men, we have to do that. Sometimes we want to not get along with our sister, and that shit's fine. You can not get along with our sister. This is what I'm learning. But at the same time, I can still be a brother. I can still be a brother. I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he was saying that his father wasn't good to him. He goes, but just because my father wasn't good to me doesn't mean that I couldn't be a good son to him because I still have my own responsibilities. Because then years later, my father might leave the earth or whatever, and I'm sitting there thinking, wow, he was never good to me. And also I'm thinking, wow, I was never good to him. And sure, you could be like, oh, well, you know, you weren't good to him because he wasn't good to you. But that's where we all fuck up, or that's where I fuck up anyway. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said we all, because I don't know. I don't know other people's lives, but I know that's where I fuck up. When I think that because somebody did something to me, then I should do it to them. But no, what I do is who I am. And sometimes you show somebody enough love, you know, you show them what's real, and that's how they learn it. You think if somebody's a dick to you, you're a dick back to them, they're going to fucking learn anything else than being a dick? Sure, you got to be the bigger person, but that's, you know, I don't know, man. It's just, I don't mean to go, I don't know. I'm just like, I think about that shit with the president a lot, with Trump. You know, like I think, I've never been a political man. You know, I think I've never trusted any of these politics. I think we have some of the same problems, and I think the problems are us. I think the problems are humans. I think we're getting in this world right now where there's a lot of humans that don't want to even really be, they're not even doing anything. Some people ain't doing nothing. And you got other people that want to do something, that want to move, that want to do stuff. And I think sometimes it's like, but you have these networks and these people that just hate Donald Trump so much. I'm like, what are you teaching this man? What are you teaching him? And I don't hate him. You know, I think he's an egomaniac. I think all politicians are. There's no way you get into that. I don't think with having, first of all, you have to have a big ego. And that can be okay. But that can also be extremely fucking dangerous, bro. The ego, it reminds me of that volcano in Hawaii. That thing's always trying to sneak lava out the side. You know, you think there's nothing that scares me more than ego. It scares me every day I wake up. Scared that my brain is going to trick me into thinking certain things about myself that are not going to be good for me. But I think that about, you know, it's just like so much hatred. Like, who's solving anything with all that shit? All of that shit, man. You know, it's just like, does anybody really hate somebody as much as all these news are? It's just like, really? Go to fucking work. None of these politicians have ever affected my life. Ever. Ever. I never even seen any of them. I don't think. I thought I saw one of them one time at the airport. I don't know who it was. Onward. What else, man? Thanks for calling, Rico. Let's hear a little, let's take another call here. This is Dalton.
Hey, Theo. It's Dalton from Virginia.
Wow, that's a wild name, Dalton, bro. I never heard of it before. And that's a risky name, too, if somebody call you Dolt, you know, because that don't mean, you know, that means not super, you know, keen to what's happening. But whatever, bro. Fuck yeah. That's a great name, dude, because now you're changing that shit. You know? That's like, you know, saying my name's Skimpy. And people are like, are you Skimpy? You're like, no, baby, I'm fucking thick. You're like, oh, okay. So Skimpy's doing something different with it all. Let's hear more, Dolt.
This is in response to The Secret, the gentleman who wrote in. But on to that, I just wanted to share a little quick personal thing that happened, part of my family. Not real close to my family, but I just know the story. My dad's brother, married 20, 30 some years, 3, 4 kids. One day got a knock at their door, and it was a lady, about 28 years old. Was like, you know, I think you might be my father. And so just showed up out of nowhere. They sat down and kind of went through the timeline. And, you know, sure enough, we had been traveling at some point, you know, however, 28 some years ago, and had gotten a lady pregnant over, I guess, in Japan or something like that.
Damn. That's wild, man. And look, I'll be honest, it would be hard to go to Japan and probably not try to bust a nut somewhere. Think about that. I mean, I remember being young and I was traveling around a good bit, and I would want to bust nuts on all these continents, And I remember one night falling asleep thinking I'm gonna bust a nut on all 40 fucking continents. And then I get up in the morning and there's only 7 continents or 9. And I'm like, wow. I was just going to be jerking off in like 31 other places for no reason. I mean, that would have been crazy. You're out in fucking Guam beating off and people are like, what are you doing? You're like, I'm settling this land. I got a score to settle with Earth. So, but that, that's something impressive, man. That's something impressive, that she just showed up. That had to be a long fucking lunch, boy. What if your dad had just settled down to a sandwich? He made himself his favorite sandwich. The game is on. His fucking favorite game. And then he gets that doorbell ring. He opens it, and it's somebody that in his eyes and in his soul, he knows immediately, man, I know her from somewhere, even if he's never met her. And bam, bruh, you got a bonus child. That's crazy. That's crazy. I had a girl reach out to me on Facebook a few years ago, 2 years ago. And she said that we could be half siblings. And we talked on the phone once, and I might try to look her back up, and I've never met her. And maybe she would actually come on here. That'd be a neat guest to have. That would be a super neat guest. But Dalton, let's hear a little bit more. Here we go.
How we're 28 some years ago and had gotten a lady pregnant over, I guess, in Japan or something like that. But it messed things up for a little bit. People were a little weird for maybe a day or two. But that's not that long if you think about it. And she's a great part of the family now. I know they have her over all the time. She has a kid too that they treat, just like one of the grandkids from the beginning. It's a fantastic thing now. I know that's a little bit different of a situation, but maybe that experience helped you guys out. I guess you really just never know until you do something about it.
Yeah. That's a great point, man. And look, and people, I think, there's that hiccup in the beginning, usually with most things, but then most people want to love. Most people want other people in their life. I think about sometimes I would give anything to have like a brother or a sister that was really young, like a 9-year-old, that was a 9-year-old right now. Just to see them be alive and just for me to have that experience and watch them be a human and become a human. And, I see it some with my nieces and nephews, and that's fine. But it would be really neat to have it as like a brother or a sister, a younger child where I could be a sibling to them in some facet, and a part of their life in some way. Man, that would be, there's just such a blessing, I think, in having children and creating that thing. And you don't even realize, I think when you create a family, you don't even realize probably a lot of the gifts that you're going to create moments that those siblings are going to have between each other that you can't even fathom. You won't even be there to witness, but there'll be beautiful moments. And that's awesome that, somebody showed up at the door. That's that long knock. And you think it's a pizza delivery, and damn, that's that DNA delivery. Is that's DNA Giorno, bruh. That's at the door, bruh. And that's forever. And that's family, bruh. You got an extra large straight up family, dude. Gang, bruh. Where them 2-liter colas at? Remember that? They used to get you on that shit. Pizza Hut. No, Domino's. You'd be like, we got that 2-liter soda. Bro, I remember this one dude, one time we ordered a bunch of pizza to this party, and he came out, he'd been drinking, delivering pizzas, and he skirted off the road because the road was fucking super dangerous. It wasn't even a road. It was just like a place where people would try to drive down it and basically just mostly almost die, and sometimes really die. And this dude slipped off into the woods. Next thing you know, he's at the door, and he's bleeding and stuff like that, and a couple people kept talking to him at the front door, and calling 911 and stuff. And then some other people went around to his car and got the pizzas out. He had like 9 pizzas because this dude was, back in the day, you would leave once and you might be out there delivering for 4 hours. And he also had a bunch of 2-liter sodas that were just spraying everywhere because they'd been in the car accident. And so they were spraying everywhere. So that's one thing that was kind of a beautiful treat about them sodas, is that you could shake them up and you had a little party right there. And you could spray half of it and drink half of it. And that's kind of nice. Let's hear another call. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. It's Alex from Kentucky. I was just calling to comment on the guy who wrote in last week saying that he was a secret, and I want him to know that he ain't alone out there, that I myself was also a secret. My mother and a guy hooked up whenever they were young, had me, and then the guy, like I said, they were just kids, and the guy kind of ran away or whatever. She moved back to Kentucky with me, and met up with who I always thought was my dad, my real dad. I had a little sister who was 5 years younger than me. I never thought anything other until I got the age of about 13. And, of course, small town gossip. The man who raised me wasn't my real father.
Wow. And that's a wild rumor to hear around town. Because, I remember hearing shit like, there's a man that sleeps, outdoors at night without a tent. And I remember hearing shit that, somebody was crossbreeding animals. And you would hear stuff like, there's a woman they had a woman that kept like a rare coin. She had a wig and she would keep a rare coin under it. And so we would always be plotting on ways to get that wig off and, get that treasure. But to hear that, that you got a different family, that's a unique rumor. Let's hear more.
And then right at about that same time, he passed away, wrecked a semi-truck and died.
Damn. That's sad, man. That semi-truck, bro. Those things are fucking dangerous. You get hit by that shit or anything, man, you fucked up. And they're square in the front. Mostly. Some of them, remember the old ones were just straight up square. They didn't even have a nose on them. What the fuck, man? But I'm sorry to hear that, bud. I'm sorry to hear that.
I finally reached out. I have 3 sisters, other than the one I was raised with, and 2 brothers. And I'm the oldest of all of them. They're great people. I finally went up there and met them. Got to hang out with them and everything. I never met the dad or whatever. Mike's his name. Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Well, look, there you go. You never know. You never know when, and that's a gift. It's a gift. So your family gets bigger and your heart gets bigger and it's a little more unique. It's the same thing with thinking. It's the same thing when, you had an 8-box and now you got that 64 hitter, somebody showed up. And you got fucking new family. You got new senior citizens. They got pets. Look at little Marco, the fucking Chichen Itzas. You got it all. And everything changes. And that's it, man. Sometimes we get so stuck we don't want to change. And that's one thing, man, I swear to God, dude, I've been thinking about the past couple of days. I'd never thought, just going on a Joe Rogan's podcast and thinking about, and I'm not trying to keep name dropping that. It shook me. I just woke up the next day thinking, wow, what if there's different universes? And what if you met yourself? Would you like yourself? And just my mind was a little more open. And your heart's a little more open when you get that kind of thing, when you get that new family member. Thank you for calling in, man. Let's hear a little, let's hear this, dude. All right, we got this write-in that came in, and this is a text that came into the hotline. Hey, Theo, my name is Zach from Houston. Shout out H-Town. I'm 20. I'm texting from the hotline because I'm having brain surgery on Monday the 21st. I probably should have said procedure because surgery sounds aggressive, but it's not major brain surgery. They ain't cracking my skull open or anything. They're going through my artery to shoot some glue to make this thing stop growing. Damn, I don't know what's growing in your head, bro, but if it ain't ideas or hope, then it's probably pretty painful. And I'm sorry to hear that, dude. And I appreciate you telling me about this. I don't understand it, but the doctors do, so I'm going to trust them. That's huge. That's huge to trust others. That's big, man. That's a very adult move, man. You say you're 20? That's a very adult move. Because you sitting there just so scared and concerned, and because you don't trust them, that I can only imagine how painful that would be. And so for you to put trust into them, that's very huge, man. I'm going to trust them. The thing is, I'm nervous about is forgetting things or having a stroke, which could happen. It's rare, but it happens. I'm not afraid to die, so I kind of hope I die instead of have a stroke or be disabled. Man, that's brave of you, dude. Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Because, look, you might come right back. God might need you right back. Right back Zach. You might be that dude right back Zach. That you live for 20 years and you pop right back. And they need you somewhere else. We need Zach over here. We need him in Wisconsin. We need him in Houston again. We need Zach and Zaire. Like, people are like, damn, Zach and Zaire. You might have, that might be for you. That might be God's plan for you, bro, or the higher power's plan for you, whatever you want to think, whatever you want to call it, that's fine. People get skirtish on the God thing. That's 3 letters, baby. That's just the quickest way to say you know what I'm saying. Is something else out there, pushing the pieces, playing the chessboard. But yeah, man, let me read a little bit more. So in case I forget something, I can read this and jog my memory. You really funny. Keep up the podcast and stand up and hope that show gets picked up on Comedy Central. Man, that's so nice of you, dude. Here you are, and he sent this came in yesterday. And here you are, you might be on your way out and you're thinking about me, man. Thank you. When you're thinking about us, you're not just, I know you're thinking about a lot of people, but, you wanted to say you're funny and keep up the podcast and stand up. And I will, man. And I'll be looking out for you. If you go to heaven, man, we'll be looking out for you on the flip side. That's right back, Zach. And if you don't go, then when I come to Houston, man, come out and be my guest, please. And look, I might make you last arm. You might have a stroke then, bro. How crazy would that be, dude? Oh, this is so fucked up. I shouldn't be thinking about this. But we love you, bro. Thanks for reaching out, dude. You have a lot of people thinking about you. You're going to be okay. You're going to be okay either way. You're going to be okay either way, man. You sound like you got a huge heart. Okay, and all these calls come out of the hotline, and that's 985-664-9503. Anybody can hit the hotline with responses, suggestions for people, or issues that you're dealing with. If there's anything you're trying to, you're struggling with, or anything you want to think about. But yeah, if there's something you're struggling with, man, you got something in your heart, you got something in your feelings, man, get it out there. Don't keep that inside of you by yourself, because that's what's fucking us. Is that we're just afraid to feel, man. We're afraid to be vulnerable. And I am too, and we do it here together. So let's take this next hit here. Bang.
Hey, Theo, long time listener, first time caller here. I heard you say on the Joe Rogan podcast that where you lived in Louisiana, there was a lot of magic mushrooms growing naturally.
Oh, yeah, boy. Oh, yeah.
I was just wondering if you could, maybe follow up on that. How do you identify those mushrooms? Is there like a taste process where maybe it's not like a psilocybin mushroom? So maybe you eat a little bit of shit on accident to try and test it to see if you'll get those effects.
Damn, bro. This sounds like you calling like a 1-900 number. Like this is like some kind of sex line or something about mushrooms. Like you want me to just like, oh yeah, baby. So what happened was I would take my shoes off, you see, and run out into that damp grass. And right there on the soil, you'd see a big old areola of cow dung. Man, that thing was shining and glistening. And right off the top of it, you would see a beautiful Mexico Murremo. And that is Latino, brother, for magic mushroom. You know what I'm saying? That David Copperfield that's going to give you them floppy feels, bruh. Man, you had them magic mushrooms. Dude, what do you mean? I ain't out there eating shit, bruh. This ain't a Japanese game show, daddy. This was young bucks out there. And dude, it looks like a magic mushroom. Google that bitch before you just run around a field with your mouth open. Because 96.7% of mushrooms are killers. Okay, that's why when you get that special 3%, it's magic. If you just getting them killers and you snacking on killers, you're going to fall apart. So get out there and get that hitter, man. Get the real thing. And it's beautiful white stem and it's so just succulent looking. I mean, it looks like somebody just poured a tall glass of milk. That's how white the stem is. And then it's got this dirty little skirt, but the skirt doesn't even go down. It just goes straight out on the side. Around the stem, it's just this beautiful little purple skirt. And that's where the fucking magic is, boy. And that's where you feel the fucking Lord just licking the back of your neck. When you get those hitters, bro. We ain't out there eating shit, dude. You being wild, boy. You being wild. But thank you for calling, man. Thank you for calling. You want that one? Yeah, and then we put them in our mouths and everything changed. And the world just started, and just the clouds just started dripping out of the sky. And we were catching the drops in our mouths and spitting them onto each other's backs. What you want to hear, man? What do you want to hear? Okay, let's take another call or two. Here we go.
Hey, what's up, Theo? This is Jesse. I live out here in Silver Lake. I'm a storyboard artist on Bob's Burgers. So I was at LA Fitness a couple weeks back. Got in there pretty early before work started.
Get in there. More?
So I was finishing up my workout, and I go and get in the shower, and
damn, you took a shower at LA Fitness, dude? Man, that's hectic, baby. More?
they have those soap dispensers that are up on the wall, about 4 feet or so off the ground, and they're clear so you can see inside to the soap.
And what was in it, dude? Semen?
I go and put my hand up underneath it because I'm about to get a couple squirts and lather up.
Damn, dude, you might want to talk to the mushroom, dude. I feel like both of you guys trying to meet each other. More?
And I see something's in there, so I look a little closer, and lo and behold, there is a 14-inch, fully intact turd.
Ooh. Ooh. Wow, I didn't expect that, man. Somebody put a turd in the straight up hand soap dispenser? Ooh. That is an archaic move, bro. That's old school, man. That's back in the, I mean, that's like something you would do like, that's like that old Trojan horse, bro. You think you're getting soap and then badam, boy. That's just, you got that, you got that feces, you think you're getting soap and then bam, boy, you got them fecal paws, bro. And that's just, that's pink eye waiting to happen. That's pink eye country you're flirting with. More?
Sitting in the soap dispenser, and it was pretty shocking. I didn't put the soap on my body.
You lie, bro. You are lying. And look, I love you, man. I appreciate you calling, Jesse, but you have to say that. You can't sit here and tell us the truth, man. Dude, we know what happened. There's no way you went the first time and then put it all. It's the second time you went back when you saw that fucking hitter. When you saw some dude drop that booty hitter into that soap dispenser. My God, I've never heard of this. Bro, where is the FBI? Where's the FDA? More?
I went out there, told the maintenance man that there was shit in the soap dispenser, and he basically stopped me mid-sentence and told me that it's been happening often and that they have a serial shitter. So figured I'd run that one by you and see if you've ever come across any dumps in any weird locations or taken a dump yourself.
Oh, that's a good question, man. Have you ever taken a dump yourself in a weird locale? Well, a lot of people know this. You know, I used to talk about this, or I've told this story. When I was growing up, they had a boy in my neighborhood, and he, named Mario, and he was Italian, bro, or he said he was anyway, or his parents just pretended he was and named him Mario. And he was even named, I remember, after Super Mario, I think, the video game. So that's bizarre. But anyhow, he would, make poops in his yard and make me bury him so I could hang out with him. Cause that was the only way he let me hang out with him. If when he did feces in the yard, I had to, I had this little beach shovel and a little pail, and I had to bury him in there for him. And so I did it. I didn't know any better. I was a child, and I was wearing overalls. My mother always had me in overalls and shit. So I probably, in these little what are those hippie kind of sandals? Not hippie, but they're like fucking, I don't know, man. They're like they're leather, and they look like, almost like indentured servants would wear them. They are Cumberland or something. sandals. Fuck, I don't know. They're fucking sandals, bruh. And then, so I would wear these wild little sandals with these overalls. So I probably look like I should be burying shit. So that if somebody drove by and saw me out there, you know, hiding these fucking little body bats, they weren't thinking that I was a bat. You know, they probably like, oh yeah, you dress like that, you deserve to be fucking burying dukes. And this kid, Mario, would make me bury all his shits, bro. And this dude, and so it got repetitive. He was shitting all the time. So I've never had anything like that. I never had anybody poop in a soap dispenser, but I have had people, you know, shit for fun in different places. And you know, I was kind of, you know, had I guess a service commitment, you know, at that boy's yard. But then years later, he died. He drove a bass boat into an embankment on, you know, allegedly on drugs, and, you know, rest in peace. And I actually wrote his parents a letter and told them about that, you know, and told them what had happened back in the day. And I miss, you know, and he was a wild boy. He had the wildness in him. You know, sometimes he had something extra going on in him. He just had like a special energy. You know, he had a special energy. And he was into some of the dark arts, I think. And but anyhow, they buried him, I'm guessing, and they didn't let me be a pallbearer. And that kind of pissed me off, you know, and a little bit somewhere in my head, I had a resentment. Because I'm like, man, these people fucking put that boy in the ground and they didn't let me do it. Because nobody's put more of that boy in the ground than this boy right here. You know, and God rest his soul, man. But, yeah, sorry that that's happening, dude. There's people shitting in soap dispensers, dude. That's what happens, bro. That's what happens when you don't trust the government anymore. You know, that's what happens when when the Democratic Party railroads their own candidates. That's what happens when a 70-year-old man, Bernie Sanders, who gave his whole life to politics, gets fucked out of his own fucking nomination. That's what happens in this world, bruh. Onward. Let's hear more.
Theo Vaughn, Noel from Los Angeles. Great job on the Joe Rogan podcast. Royal wedding was today. It was this morning, early this morning. It's late. I'm getting out of work. I'm a bartender in Santa Monica. You can come anytime you want. I'm also sober like you, but I bartend because I make money.
Thanks for calling in, Noah. Yeah, the royal wedding was this weekend. More?
Listen, about the royal wedding, it's a big deal. My wife was telling me all about it. You got the black girl. She's half white, half black. You know, she's going to be in the royal family. It's a big deal. She's American. It's all these first times for everything. But I want to say, like, if you really want to be different, and you're Prince Harry, who looks like a ginger, marry another ginger. Like, I got a buddy, he's a black guy, he's in all these commercials with a white wife and the mixed kid. The mixed thing is like, that's in right now. If you really want to be like a trailblazer and you're a red and you're a ginger, marry us another ginger. Keep the gingers going.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's true. Keep the gingers going, dude. That's a great point. Yeah, it's like, you want to be wild, do something that's out of the norm, that's not being seen. You know, marry somebody of your own style even. I'm not saying that don't interracial marry. I'm not saying any of that. But I'd love to see a big sister and a Japanese boy. Where's that at? You know, I'd love to see a blonde-haired, blue-eyed gal and a thick and a Rubenesque Korean fella. You know, I'd love to see that mix. But I'd also like to see that ginger on ginger. Would they even allow that? If you saw two gingers kissing at a stoplight, would you call the cops? Yeah, it's like, I agree. It's like, you know, different always changes. What's different always changes. And yeah, now it's like you see so many commercials where the family is also mixed. And I think it's good for advertising because you want everybody to feel, you don't want a kid to watch a Disney World commercial or Disneyland commercial. I've talked about this before, and see only white people at Disneyland, or only certain types of people, or only wealthy people at Disneyland, or only Asian people at SeaWorld, or only, black people at, I'm trying to think of, or at Essence Fest. You want everybody to feel welcome, especially via advertising. But yeah, you want to do something wild, do something really brave. You know what I'm saying? You only got one eye? Marry somebody with with two eyes. Or you got two eyes? Marry somebody with fucking three eyes. Or half a dick. Do something different. You're not gay? Marry somebody with a dick. That's different. Do some unique stuff. Yeah, because sometimes the same old stuff is the same old stuff. Make that, you got an 8 box? Let's get that 64. You know what I'm saying? Somebody got one titty, fucking find somebody that's magenta. Let's make a real wild family. But ginger on ginger, dude, would they even allow it? These are the questions we're asking, man. These are the hard hitters. Oh, what else, man? I feel like we've done a pretty good job this week, man. Okay, yep. All right, we're going to take one more question here. Here we go.
Hey, Theo. This is Rob in Georgia, man.
What's up, Rob in Georgia? Thank you for calling, man. Beautiful state you have there.
I'm just listening to this Nicole Arbor podcast. As always, excited to see a new episode up. Anyway, I'm only 20 minutes in, and I can't help but notice you seem kind of hostile, man. Were you having a bad day when you interviewed her? Do you genuinely not like this woman? I just want to get your thoughts on that and wonder why you were feeling like that.
Thanks for calling, Rob. It was interesting having Nicole Arbor in. I think that she's a funny lady. I think she's an entertainer. I think, I'm not going to have somebody on the podcast because, there's this general thing in the air where people don't like them. Would I have Satan on? Yeah. Because you know why? I got a question for Satan. You think I'm sitting around with 0 questions for Satan? You're wrong. And I'm not comparing Nicole to Satan or anything. Like, look, I think Nicole's attractive. I think that she's funny. I just didn't. The thing was, man, honestly, and this took me an extra day or two to think about, and this is the last that I'll talk about this, is that I don't know if she's genuine. And that's what that's what made me feel uncomfortable. I don't believe that she is genuine. And I could be wrong, and I'm happy to be wrong, but I didn't feel it. And I felt uncomfortable. And so it was tough. It was tough. I try to make it an interesting conversation. But I feel like she's constantly kind of in this PR world, and I don't like that world that much. I like something that's really real. If I can get real, and some days it's hard, man. Some days we don't fucking feel real. But there's times we can, if we those are special times these days. I feel like that. But yeah, I have that on that, man. So yeah, we've had a lot of great calls. I appreciate that call. We've had a lot of great ones this week. And I just appreciate you guys being in here with me, and just helping me. I'm just happy to be here, and I'm happy that you're here. And we got some cool dates coming up on the road. I'm going to try to keep my brain thinking this week. I'm going to try to not stay in my small cage sometimes. I'm going to try to maybe think, if I talk to somebody that I don't know if I agree with, or it's only going to help me. It's only going to help me. But if I stay too close to my template in my brain, then you can be kind of limited. You can be kind of limited. You're going to be limited to your yard. You're going to be in your fishbowl. Sometimes you got to fucking hop out and land in another tank. And that's okay, because you can always get back into your bowl. But that's one of the things that I took away from being on Joe's show, and that's one of and he makes me feel welcome, and you're welcome. Anybody is welcome here. Anybody is welcome here. And if we can't figure out why you're not, man, we'll figure it out. We're here to fucking figure shit out. You think I'm going to fucking live on this ball of dirt in the middle of nowhere and not try and figure some of this shit out? Not anymore. I'm not. Thank you guys for being here with me, man. Okay, we're going to close out here. And this is called, this was sent in through theovon.com, where you can send in, you can be a part of the podcast, merchandise, all kinds of stuff. And this is by Thomas Seipel, and this is called Gentilly Philly. And thank you guys for being here with me, and you guys be good to yourselves. You probably deserve it. Get in there! That's good, huh? Thank you, Tom. There's a lot of talent out in this world, isn't there? We're gonna be okay. You know that, guys, right? We got this.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jonathan Kite, and welcome to Kite Club, a podcast where I'll be sharing thoughts on things like current events, stand-up stories, and 7 ways to pleasure your partner. The answer may shock you. Sometimes I'll interview my friends. Sometimes I won't. And as always, I'll be joined by the voices in my head.
You have 3 new voice messages.
A lot of people are talking about Kite Club. I've been talking about Kite Club for so long, longer than anybody else. So great.
Hey, sweetheart, here's the deal. Anyone who doesn't listen to Kite Club is a dodgy bloody wanker. Do you know what I mean?
Hi, I'll take a quarter pounder with cheese and a McFlurry.
Sorry, sir, but our ice cream machine is broken.
Oh, no!
I think Tom Hanks just butt-dialed me. Anyway, first rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Second rule of Kite Club is tell everyone about Kite Club. Third rule, like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts or watch us on YouTube, yeah? And yes, don't worry, my Brad Pitt impression will get better.
Today's guest is a comedian, an actor, a writer, and a director known for some of the funniest shows that anyone has ever seen. He's going into his 4th season and final season of Righteous Gemstones, which just kicked off on HBO. Vice Principals, Eastbound and Down. He's a legend, and he's one of the most requested human beings ever to be a guest on this show. I'm grateful to spend time with Mr. Danny McBride.
You already filmed a few of these today, or is this just, am I the only lucky guy today?
Only guy.
Look at us.
This is amazing. So thank you for your time.
Yeah, kidding me?
We good?
Sick. Is this going to have where all of our lines are, what we have to say in the interview? That'll be up there?
Yeah. That'd be so good. That's actually not a bad idea. If the whole interview were scripted, man, that'd be freaking pretty amazing, man. Good to see you today. No, I got this. There's a place called Matcha Luther King that I went to, and I was like,
sick.
This is... It just like, is that are we at that level where you're taking a guy like that and turning it into
Making
like
money.
a pun?
Yeah. Matcha Luther King.
Yeah, it was cool, but it was just like,
They have the I have a cream drink. It's just like a cream coffee.
I'll have a medium. yeah, those motherfuckers. That's crazy, dude. Good to see you today, Danny McBride. Thanks for hanging out.
We're on. This is happening. We're doing it, huh?
Yeah, is it okay?
Perfect. I was waiting for this.
Yeah. I just definitely having one of those days where it's like my skin feels all dry and stuff.
Wonder why that is.
I don't know. I don't know how hydration became like the hot thing in the past 10 years.
Is that it? People only started drinking water and hydrating in the last 10 years, you think?
It's more prevalent. You people like stay hydrated and stuff. I just think it feels more, it's more popular for sure.
You're in Burbank though. There's this dry climate out here. Dries you out.
Yeah, it might be true.
It's not like Charleston, South Carolina. It's always balmy, sweaty.
Oh yeah,
wet.
Oh dude, I went to CFC for a semester.
Did you really?
Yeah.
The College of Knowledge.
Yeah, baby. I used to live on King Street over there, right across. They had a Bebe store over there. It was like women's fine clothing or something.
Unfortunately, I don't think it's still there.
Or Body Textiles or something. They had a place called Silver Dollar.
Yeah.
Bar that we used to go to.
Yep, I've been to that place before.
Have you?
Yep.
Yeah, boy.
Charleston's a pretty fun spot.
God, it's great, except I took a girl on to one of the, I think it's one of the 5 most unique cities in America,
Totally.
I think. And I took a girl on like a carriage tour or whatever, and it was a black girl that I was dating at the time, and a lot of it's kind of, it gets a little, some of the history around there is.
Oh yeah, they got some history around.
It's some risque history. So like, at a certain point, I'm like trying to tip the driver early, like, dude, just
can we change this to a ghost tour maybe?
Yeah. So, but dude, it's so fun there, and you go out to like the beach and stuff there. Do you guys spend time on the beach, or what is your life like
yeah,
there?
I live by the beach, and then we're on the water all the time there. That's like the beauty of that city. You got all that water, you got all those good restaurants, the people are nice. Yeah, it's a pretty sweet spot.
Yeah, and it's good. And you can kind of learn to surf there. People don't realize that. You can kind of learn to like baby surf there.
Yeah.
There's just enough little wave action.
Just the perfect little waves. Yeah.
Do you ever get out there on them?
I think I'm too top heavy to surf. I'm more of a bodyboarder. Yeah. You ever seen big heavy dudes try to surf? It's hilarious. It's like Mr. Potato Head body out there trying to surf. The aerodynamics are off. Yep.
Yeah, why don't they have who's coming out with the big boy board? You know, big and tall needs a surfboard. I feel like
this, you have to just go all in on the boogie boarding. Like, no, I'm good at this. This is what I'm all about. I could stand up on this thing, but I choose not to.
Dude, but is there anything a little bit dicier than being an adult boogie boarder? Like at a certain point.
Yeah, it's true. You're not going to pick up any new fans doing it.
And the wives are always just standing in the distance, like just waiting,
shaking heads.
Yeah,
like I'm in it for the children. You know, I brought you a present today.
Did you really?
Yeah. I always like to share new products that I find useful in my life, and this is a dick laser.
Oh, damn.
What it is it's like a laser pointer that is a dick that projects dicks.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if anyone's running their mouth too much in here, look at your shoe. Look what I put on your shoe right there.
Whoa, that's cool. That's pure cock, huh?
It's pure cock. There's some variable settings on there too, I think, where you can kind of change what nasty stuff you put. That's the PG end right there. That's just your light. The other end is where you get the dick right there.
Oh. So this is where you find a suspect like that.
Yeah, and then the other one's where you embarrass him.
Wow, dude, thank you, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think you could use that. Anytime anyone's talking too much in here, you just throw one of those across their forehead and it'll shut them up fast.
Yeah. Or if you see an old guy, you put a limp one on him just to fucking...
I make my cats chase it around the house. It's pretty useful.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's nothing cooler than that, seeing some cats chasing a little cock around. Those are the good old days, you know? Bro, thank you. This is so nice, man. We've had two really neat gifts, and this is definitely one of them.
Cherish it forever.
Very, very sweet of you. Was your neighborhood cool growing up, or was it like in a city? I know you grew up in Georgia. I know that.
I was born in Georgia, but...
you grew up in Virginia, sorry.
Yeah, Virginia. I was born in Georgia, and then we actually spent a few years after that. My dad was a guard in the prison at Lompoc, California. So I lived for a few years on the prison reservation right outside of the prison where like all the people lived whose parents worked in the prison.
What? All the like prison family, like you were there with those children? All types of, I bet it's pretty diverse over there, was it?
It was. Pretty tough crowd. Yeah, it was crazy. And I lived there, and then my dad got transferred to the Federal Bureau of Prisons in D.C., and so that's when we moved to Virginia.
Is it scary being the child of somebody that works at a prison? Like, what's that kind of energy like?
You know what? I didn't really kind of get it until like, I mean, this was like, I'm talking like real little. Like I moved out of there and we were like in kindergarten. But
oh, yeah,
I can remember though, one night the alarm's going off and like my dad came in and like rounded me and my sister out and we had to go into their bedroom and shut the door, and I like looked out the window and it was just my dad with the shotgun going outside, jumping in the back of a pickup truck with all my friends' dads. There was like a prison break and they were going to go chase the dudes down. It was like, ooh, this is some real shit right here.
Yeah. Yeah, bro. God, that's cool. Yeah, because I wonder if you did like if your dad, I guess he doesn't bring work home because that would be like having an inmate come over for dinner or whatever.
I think if he brings work home, there's a big problem. Yeah.
We grew up by this, it was like a prosthetic kind of, not factory, I guess. I think it was hoping that like after the war, like prostheticing would scale up or whatever. Mm-hmm. But it never really did. But they had a lot of, they give us like the used, like the fucking, you could get them out back. Sometimes the used ones, the ones that didn't.
Used prosthetics, ones that people didn't want?
Yeah, returns, or ones that were, they didn't, it's not like veneers, but when they just didn't do the edging right on it or something, or the hand was too small for the guy who
pinky
ordered.
Was too sharp. Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. Can't even hug my wife with this. Yeah. But we would, you'd have people like, or it would be two middle fingers. Some, Guar fan would get like one with two middle fingers on it. But that was something that was always funny around us because you'd see like people would chase each other with different little appendages, or you'd see fucking somebody not hit their wife, but throw a hand at her, or
It's
something.
cool that you knew where to find those rejects. That's good.
It was fun. It just made things fun. Or you see like somebody try to break into a car, but not using their own fingerprints, like try to.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, just type shit like
Commit
that.
crimes. I like it.
Yeah, it was a different time, but yeah, I missed that a lot.
I bet you have influence. You could probably get fake hands with 2 middle fingers still if you wanted to, I bet.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think somebody could send them your way.
They need that though, dude. Especially with just how the things are going these days. It's like I think you almost want 2 middles.
Yeah, I feel like with the state of the world, we all definitely need more middle fingers.
Yeah.
We don't have enough.
Do you I know since you live over there in Charleston, do you stay out of like I know that you don't have social media stuff like that. You just keep all that stuff out of your life?
I really do. Yeah, like when we shot Vice Principals, Walton Goggins and like Busy Phillips, they were on there, and they were all they were involved with social media, and they were kind of telling me, you got to get in there, it's awesome. And so I like had an Instagram account for like a matter of a few months and was like, fuck this.
Yeah,
I felt like it was a gateway for just crazy people to be able to reach out and touch. So I just wasn't that. I don't know. It wasn't my deal. Some people I know are amazing at that stuff, but it just didn't feel like a natural fit for me.
Yeah, and so, but it's just good that you like recognize that. Yeah, it's kind of addicting and it makes you feel bad. I think sometimes some things are nice to see because it feels inspirational, but then sometimes you're just like, you're keeping up with this kind of weird void. It feels like
I liked it purely. The only thing I miss about it is I like seeing bum fights. I like seeing all the schoolyard fights. I like seeing fights. That's what I like to see on there.
Oh yeah, they have everything. They even have gauze on there now, so it's upscaled. It's upscaled a lot. Do you miss like being when I was a kid, like things were dumb, like shit was just you could be funny all day. You didn't give a shit. Like somebody had noodles or something when you got home. Like there was just shit was possible, right?
Somebody had noodles when you got home,
or there was just like. Everything was gonna kind of be okay. Do you miss like? But I notice as I get older, my brain doesn't even come up with like some of the ideas and stuff that I had when I was a kid. And like, do you notice any of that for yourself? Like that you felt like your humor was different then, or that humor changes as you get older?
I feel like if you're creative, being bored is good sometimes, right? And I feel like sometimes with these phones, with all this information all the time, your brain is just constantly occupied by other people's noise. And so I felt like when I kind of turned that stuff off, I just felt like there was all of this noise that just went away. And then all my stupid ideas could flourish. I could make jokes about noodles. Anything was possible.
Yeah, that's a good call, man. Yeah, it's like, yeah, because maybe sometimes I think I miss. That is what I miss. I almost miss feeling. I know this sounds weird. I almost miss feeling dumb a little bit.
Yeah, not knowing about everything that's going on in the world.
Yeah, and not wearing all these things on my face that aren't even of my own life, kind of in a way, Mm-hmm. And I had this weird thought about the other day. Like, say if like you're a parent and you're always seeing like these cute things that kids do on TikToks and different things. I wonder if it affects the way a little bit. Like if your kid isn't as boisterous or isn't like, does it like, I don't know, like just, I don't know. I thought about like, it takes almost all of our, like some of our good, our good reactions or the things that are kind of supposed to be reserved for kind of real people in our lives. Does it start to like take those reactions to those people? Does it make any sense?
Yeah, no, it totally does. I feel that you'll see people on there that are going on these beautiful vacations. You're like, damn, how do they know to go to these places? I don't know this. Like you start comparing all these things in your world to what you see there. I mean, I'm not someone who's like, I'm not against it all. I think that there's also awesome stuff with just anyone being able to have a voice and anyone being able to reach people that have what's it called. But yeah, I think for me, I saw that it probably wasn't going to be the best thing for me, so I just didn't participate.
Fuck, that's brave of you, though. You're almost like damn Christopher Columbus. I feel like you just don't see a lot of it. It's cool, man.
I'm waiting for it to go extinct, and I don't think it ever will. So now I'm just I'm like the Amish, man. I'm just pretending like none of these advancements are there, dude. I'm just in my house making rocking chairs and selling, taffy.
Is that what you do? Or is that what you spend your time? Do you have some good hobbies, actually?
I need to get some hobbies. I don't have good hobbies. I think my hobbies were always like making stuff. Like when I was a kid, I'd make movies or write stuff. And then once that became my job, then people are like, what are you into? It's like, I guess just my job is what I'm into. But that's what's beautiful about Charleston. There, you can get out in that water, you can get outside. And so that stuff is great.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I had a roommate over there. We would drink so much gin and tonics and just wet the bed all the time over there.
A lot of bedwetters in Charleston.
Oh, dude,
Beautiful.
Yeah. People were like, I'm on the sailing team. It was like, sure you are, brother. You better fucking put a catamaran between you and your wife, dude. Dude, what was? Oh, you know who I saw yesterday? Speaking of social media, the Rizzler. You ever seen this kid?
Oh, I've seen the Rizzler. Yeah,
dude, I met him in person. Yes. I'm having dinner, right? I was having dinner. I look over, and it's a kid, and you don't want to look for too long because it's like it's just not something you do. And look at him.
Look at him, dude. Oh, and you got a pic with him too. I love it, man.
Bro. I was so excited, and I don't. But it's kind of weird because you don't want to be like I'm talking to a kid or whatever, and then. But definitely, dude, I'll say this.
Wait, where were you guys at? Is that Craig's?
Went to Craig's
The
dinner.
Rizzler's just hanging out at Craig's, huh?
Bro, it blew my mind. There was like some guy in there who like had like overdosed on age or something, like some super old guy who's like, I'm a producer, you know? He's like, I produced the Mayflower or whatever. I was like, that was a fucking boat. That was a boat in the 1800s. But yeah, anyway, this is the coolest thing that ever happened. So I was so excited. And not to snitch on him or whatever. First of all, he had 2 Pepsis or whatever past 8 p.m., which I think is.
That's late. The bedtime stories won't work anymore. He'll be up all night.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a little late. And some people say his grades have been suffering. And I'm like, well.
I think he's evolved past grades, right? He's never going to have to learn anything. He's just going to be able to do whatever he wants in this world, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
My son watches all this stuff, so he keeps me up to date on who's who. The Rizzler, you know, he shows me the ways.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely nice. I mean, it was just neat to see him. It was interesting to be impressed by a child, but he's kind of like the Macaulay Culkin of like their generation, it seems like. Mm-hmm. You know? I mean, maybe that's a reach, but yeah, he was fucking eating at Craig's with some. It was very bizarre. And I asked him a question, and he just started doing his arms like that.
Did he do his little move to you? Did he give it to you or no?
I don't think I got it. I think I'm an adult, and I shouldn't have really been talking to him, so I think I was a little. And the weird thing is, you see all these adults looking at him. It's just got to be so weird to be him.
It does. It's like he's this generation's Shirley Temple.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah, he's an Italian Shirley Temple. But it definitely looks like, I just heard his grades have been suffering. And I even was like the dad, I was like, somebody said he's had issues in social studies. And he looked at his dad like, you've been telling people.
Yeah, why are you talking about my grades?
So that was kind of interesting. My friend and I made a movie. David Spade and I wrote a movie. Thank you for inspiring people to like just kind of create stuff on their own.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I have some buddies who I think
Steve Little was in it.
Yes, that's great. Did you guys have fun with him?
Oh, he was the best. Maybe him and Chris Elliott were like the best people that came in.
Man, that's great. Yeah, Steve Little is such a good dude. He's so incredibly funny.
Sweet, too.
Sweet and kind. I love him.
He's just like a teddy bear that's been like not in a halfway house, but definitely like boot camp, like could have been a wrestler type of energy.
Yes.
But yeah.
And he's fearless. He'll do anything.
He was like just it was awesome just for him to be in there. Did you cast for him? Like, were you the picker for him?
Yeah, I was the picker. Yep. When we wrote the pilot for Eastbound and we had that role, you know, we just went to we went through the regular casting process. And honestly, like as soon as I saw him, then that's like where that character kind of like blew up then. Like there was no intentions when we first wrote that character would be such a big deal in the show, but it was seeing how genuinely funny he was and how cool he was. Then every season just became like, what can we get Steve to do this year? And he never shied away from any of it. He was always game. He'd always take it much further than we ever imagined. He was amazing.
Yeah, he's special. And he drank out of those little creamer cups. I saw him drink a couple of those in a row.
Me and him went down to Guadalajara, Mexico. I guess it was beginning of last year. I was launching this tequila brand, Don Gato, and I got him to come down there with me, and we shot these ads for it. And after the first day of shooting, I came down to the hotel bar, and he was just there with a pad and paper. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm handwriting my mom a letter to tell her how much fun I'm having here. I was like, that's what I love about Steve Little. He handwrites his mom letters. It's a special person who does that.
Yeah. He definitely seems like a hug that got left somewhere but rescued.
That's right.
Yeah, we texted a little bit after. I got to touch base with him and say, hey, but that was just crazy. And it's just crazy. Like you see people and you're like, oh, this works for casting, because we would have friends that would send in videos and some of them are like audition tapes. And then you're like, oh man, that's my friend, but it just doesn't fit for this thing. It's just not the right fit. Yeah. It's like, it's super specific kind of to watch, because I used to just put in audition tapes and I would never get booked for anything. And I was like, but then this time we're getting the videos in because we're doing the casting. You're like, oh, first of all, I see why I never got anything. Like my shit was fucking very obtuse. But then you'd have friends that would send a role and you're like, oh, this is almost perfect, or this would be kind of risky, but it might be adventurous. That was probably one of the most fun things I think about creating something.
Yeah, that casting is definitely fun because stuff can just take a new life on. And you're right, it's one of those deals where someone can be really good and you can kind of tell instantly whether it's the right fit or not even based on their talent, but like whatever ideas you had in mind for what that character looked like or how they talked. And you can kind of tell instantly when someone comes in like, yep or nope, and I think that's a hard gig, man. I've been lucky that I have like tried to write most of the things that I've done, but just being an actor has to show up constantly and put yourself out there in that way. It's tough, man. It is hard.
And drive over there and be depressed while you're driving over there, trying to do your lines and be in traffic.
Sitting in a lobby where it's a bunch of dudes who look kind of like you. Sucks.
Yeah. Oh God, dude. Yeah, that was some of the tough. Like I did that for probably 6 or 7 years, probably, and I never had any hope that I was gonna. I almost did it. I don't even know why I was doing it. I think you're just in LA. Also, when you're young enough, you have the energy to do it. With Fistfoot Way, you didn't write that, right? Jody Hill wrote it.
Me and Jody wrote it together.
You wrote it together. And you guys shot that on Super 16 or no?
Super 16. Yep.
Okay. And you made that without going through SAG and stuff, right?
No, it was totally independent. I think we shot it for about $70,000. Shot it in like a little less than 3 weeks, and it was all just buddies. Everyone just came down there to do it, and it was. Jody and I had both lived in LA for a few years at that point, and neither of us had found like any real success, and so it was sort of a Hail Mary of just like, all right, let's just see if we can kind of do this on our own.
And what do you notice that's easier about doing a film like that or doing something where you have to go through all the where everything is more guilds and all of that?
If you're at a place where you can afford the guilds, then you already have a leg up. You're already kind of in the zone. That thing there was like, there's no one trying to help us make it. There's no one, they don't care about it not being the guilds because they just don't ever think it'll see the light of day. So, every bit of that is a fight because not only do you have to kind of get the resources and figure out how to do it and how to talk people into coming and doing it when there's no upside for them. But then even once it's done, there's no guarantee that anything will ever happen with it, and so I think that can be pretty discouraging for people sometimes.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Like we made this movie and now we're figuring out like we wrote it and everything, we funded it ourselves, so it's super scary because you're like all you really have right now is this piece of debt, kind of. But then it's like too long right now. It's just like we got to figure it out. It just seems like I don't know. The whole thing's been super fascinating.
Yeah, it's a crazy process, and now especially the entertainment industry's changes so much, and it's all risk. It seems like these days. Yeah.
Do you envy things about the entertainment industry right now, like as opposed to whenever you kind of first got into it?
You know what I find interesting is like I went to film school in North Carolina. That's where I met Jody Hill and a lot of the guys I work with. And in the 90s, there was just like such a healthy, independent like film market. I mean, you were going to film school and you're seeing guys like Tarantino and Kevin Smith and all these dudes are just like making stuff that's pretty simple and it's not requiring massive budgets and they're finding audiences. And so it was inspiring. You felt like you could do it, like you were like anyone could do it. And it's kind of funny that it was much harder to make an independent film then. I mean, you had to shoot on film. You had to there was all these elements of things that were super expensive.
Oh yeah.
And it seems kind of crazy that with technology, it should be easier than ever to make something independent, but it feels like the market is like not as healthy as it used to be. And it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah, I think, but something new will come out of it, right? That's how you kind of think, like, how does this evolve? What happens next? That sort of thing. Was there a movie that you like that you made, that you wrote, or a role or some little piece of something that you wanted to do that once you started to get a little older? Because I'm like, fuck, this thing would have been great like 7 years ago. I think I could have pulled it off, but now it's just like, do you ever think like that? Like, was there something you had? You're like, fuck, now I'm gonna have to cast somebody to do it instead of do it.
It's so hard writing stuff that most of the time when I have written something, it's been with the intention of going and making it. I only have a few things that I've written that I didn't kind of move on, but most of them were just because it wasn't any good and it wasn't something to kind of pursue. But luckily, all the stuff I've really put my energy into, I've been able to see it to fruition in some way or another.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, because that's what I think about. Like, I had this idea for this thing. It was like Sinkhole Baby, right? Like a guy, like the sole survivor of a sinkhole, right?
Yeah, Sinkhole Baby.
In a small town, right? And people are like, they fucking love him because he made it, because God picked him. And at the cafe, they'll have like a little oatmeal there, but they put a raisin in it, like at the town
him.
cafe.
That's Sinkhole Baby.
That's him, yeah.
Wait, and so you think that you've gotten too old to be Sinkhole Baby now?
Well, but then what happens is, it creates a lot of hype when something happens to you that you didn't plan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like suddenly you're a celebrity, but how do you live up to that in a small town when you didn't really do anything?
Mm-hmm.
When really God did it with gravity, and now you have to fucking live like the repercussions of being Sinkhole Baby. And then you go on tour with like other people, like Hit by Lightning Guy and fucking,
I think you need to make this, dude. There's a story here. Look at this.
I just feel sometimes like I'm just getting a little too old.
Hey, man, you're never too old to be a Sinkhole Baby. That's one thing I've learned in this world.
Really? You think that?
Yeah, I believe that.
And I think I don't know what the second half of it is sometimes.
You got to go back in that sinkhole. You left your phone in there. You got to get back in there. Your buddy was left behind. Got to get his body. Got to bring it up. And then at the end, you go to the cafe and they put 2 raisins on top of that.
Yeah.
That's how you win in the end.
All right, folks. If you've got a little itch for some Bitcoin, or you're trying to dip your toe into that crypto pond, then listen up, because I've got something for you. Let me introduce you to MoonPay, the smoothest, easiest way to buy and sell crypto. Just use what you've already got. Your credit card, debit, PayPal, hell, even Venmo. That's right. MoonPay's making crypto easier than ordering a pizza. And look, crypto's been on a heater, man. Everybody knows that, baby. It's moonbound. If you've been thinking about stacking some digital coins, then MoonPay has got your back. MoonPay is not just another player. They've been around the block and have the experience to make buying crypto as smooth as a freshly paved road. You know, I've had a rocky relationship with crypto. I've been in, I've been out, I've been in and out. I've been hokey and pokeying with my finances in crypto, but MoonPay has brought me back. And if you're wondering, is MoonPay safe? Buddy, it's safer than Fort Knox. It's safer than some really tight underwear. So if you're looking to jump into crypto, there's no better space or place than MoonPay. Head over to moonpay.com/THEO, or you can access them in any of your favorite crypto wallets, such as Exodus, Phantom, MetaMask, or Trust Wallet. This isn't financial advice. Trading crypto carries risk, and you could lose your investment. MoonPay is here to facilitate, not advise. Same as myself. I'm hydrated, I'll say it, and I use Liquid IV. That's how I do it. Just 1 stick packet of Liquid IV. I open up a bottle of water. I pour just a touch out, just a sip. For the hydrators that aren't here, pour a little out for them. And then I pour that packet in, put the lid on, shake it up, and douse myself with that thick, good liquid. They have true-to-fruit flavors that keep you hydrated, like raspberry lemonade, white peach, my favorite, and rainbow sherbet. Liquid IV, Hydroscience, provides an optimized ratio of electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients that turn ordinary water into extraordinary hydration. Break the mold and own your ritual. Just 1 stick and 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. Treat yourself to extraordinary hydration from Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use code Theo at checkout. That's 20% off your first order with code Theo at liquidiv.com. Stay hydrated. I'm dried out right now. Better get some. Do you see Shane Gillis sometimes? Have you seen him?
Oh, yeah. I love Shane.
Have you gotten to meet him or no?
I have. Yeah, we helped
have.
him produce Tires, his show he does for Netflix.
You helped him produce it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's so funny that I think there's times when I see him and I'm like, oh, there's something about him that it's not you, but there's something about the way he is.
He's himself. He's himself, you know. not polished and just kind of shooting from the hip. That's good. I think people respond to it. I think they like seeing that.
Yeah. He's a special guy, and he just like one look, he's like,
"Yep,"
and you're in, dude.
Yeah, he makes me laugh.
He does, man. He makes everybody laugh. It's good, and it's cool to see him. Like Tires was kind of a comedy that I think kind of changed things because there's jokes in there that I feel like they wouldn't put on Netflix 10 years ago or even 5 years ago.
Yeah,
and now it's changing. Do you feel some of that?
I feel like we've always tried to push it in everything that we've done. I know people are like, oh, you can't make comedies about this, that anymore. But, even when we made Eastbound and Down, it wasn't like they were asking for that. It wasn't like people were like, we need like a racist baseball player that cusses at kids and does cocaine. There wasn't like like an ad in the trades for it. I think that you come in, you make something funny, and then that's what, that starts new trends. That makes people gravitate towards it. I think that obviously you see people getting in trouble for saying fucked up shit, but I also I feel like it's very rarely do you see people get in trouble for actually like making something that is, I think people get in trouble sometimes rightfully so for saying bad shit, but I can't really think of where people really get in trouble for like making something that pushes the lines. Maybe I'm like forgetting things, but I kind of feel like a lot of times people just want their ass to be kissed. And I think when you make something that pushes the boundaries, everyone's not going to kiss your ass. People will get upset about it, and you have to be cool with that being part of what goes with pushing the boundaries, is that those boundaries are going to sometimes push back on you, and that's just part of the deal.
Yeah, I almost relate it when you're saying that. It makes me feel like if you tweet something, you're just saying something. You're looking for controversy. It's like, But if you go out and make put out a conversation of something, then the response from people is different.
It is.
Like tweet, people just argue. There's all type of shit. But you go and actually put a conversation out, then it is more of like discussion, and people at least respect that you had the conversation.
I think so. I think that's what it is. Obviously you can be judged on whether it's good or not, but that's a different thing than whether if you're just putting something out there that's problematic and people get mad about it. It feels like that's honestly what you're asking for, right? When people put something out there that's controversial, it's made to have people start fighting, right? Isn't that part of how the whole thing works?
I think so. Yeah, Shane just did SNL. Did you get to see any of it?
I did. I saw a couple beers. That's pretty funny shit. I need a couple beers in my personal life. I think I will fix a lot of things.
Oh, yeah. I fucking used to overdose over there in Charleston, especially on Halloween. Dude, one year I made out with 3 ladybugs, dude.
Oh, just the creatures, the ladybugs, the actual insects? Or
people dressed as them.
Oh, perfect. And then you wet the bed and went sailing after that? Perfect. That's a perfect night out in Charleston.
That's the Charleston Decathlon right there, dude. Oh yeah, everything in Charleston seemed haunted. Shane just did SNL. You ever hosted SNL?
I've never hosted SNL.
Did you get asked to do? Did you not want to, or was it a thing? Or
is
there any real gravity there, or am I just slurping around? Because I'll fucking shine this dick on myself if you need me to.
You can. You shine there. You know what? I love SNL. I grew up watching it, and one of the first movies I ever did was Hot Rod, which was produced by Lorne Michaels. And when we were shooting Hot Rod, I met Bill Hader and Andy Samberg and Akiva and Yorma and all those guys, and they were just coming off their first year of SNL, and so it was cool. I liked those guys, and Lorne had actually kind of prodded me to see if I was interested in joining the cast, but it was the same exact week that we sold Eastbound and Down. And so I was like, as much as I'm flattered, this is what I'm going to go off and do. And then none of them ever talked to me ever again after that.
God, yeah. Well, after seeing Kenny Powers, how do you think Kenny Powers would pitch against some of today's hitters, do you think?
I think he would have to juice it up, dude. He would. He would have to. Don't you think? I feel like there should just be a special league for just all the dudes who juice it up, right?
Bring it up. There's Olympics that start. There's a new dope Olympics they're starting up.
I love it. That's a great idea.
The Trump Sun is starting up, which is kind of fucking perfect.
Is it really? It's an enhanced games, what they call it?
Enhanced games, brother.
Oh, dude.
Which is that's also what I call my erection a lot of times.
This is something else.
Yeah, because I'm on those pills, but a group led by Donald Trump Jr. is infusing funding and some political muscle into the enhanced games.
And so what's the thought process here that this will sort of anybody who wants to dope it up will stay out of the regular leagues and they'll gravitate towards this? Is that what it is?
Come over here. Yeah, it says he's offering $1 million for the first sprinter to break the 100-meter world record. Can you imagine some guy the rest of his body's falling off?
No, they cross the finish line and their hearts explode. That's what happens if you win. Yep. Wow. How do you train for these events? I can't wait to see. It's just going to be superhumans leaping over houses.
Well, I'll tell you how you train in our town. You would meet up with the guy behind the Winn-Dixie and get some Test 200. First of all, you would hide it from your wife and have to pull over on the side of the interstate and shoot. And you and your buddy, who have been like talking about who commonly refer to against gay folks, have to pull over and shoot it into each other's rear ends.
Yeah, and then all your hair falls out and zits start forming on your back, and your wife is like, "What is going on? What happened to you?"
But you're ready for the three-legged race with your
You're
buddy.
gonna do it. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
That's what matters.
I'll tune in. I'm in.
You have your last season of Gemstones?
Last season of Gemstones. I live in Charleston, like we talked about, but so I've been out in LA this week, just running around, running my mouth. This is my last day of running my mouth. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you, man. It really is
Save
cool.
the best for last.
Well, it's nice of you to say that and lie to me, but I will say that I waited in line one time to get a photo with you, like probably maybe 10 years ago somewhere.
Really? Where?
I think it was at Comic-Con.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
It's pretty cool.
I know people, when this show first started, I think everyone thought you were on the show. They always thought you were Tony Cavallero.
Oh, yeah. Tony's a buddy of mine.
Yeah, you guys had that similar vibe, I think. I actually, honestly, when the first season came out, I remember I met with a reporter and they asked me what it was like to work with Theo Von.
Did they?
Yeah, and I was like, that's not Theo Von.
Oh, I've had people come up to me and think I'm in the Gemstones 20 times. I'll play along with it. This dude's so awesome, man. Tony's one of the greats. And he's such
Tony.
a sweet guy.
He really is. He's
Whoa,
incredible.
somebody put our face right there. I didn't even notice that. Look at that one. No wonder some people think this shit.
Oh, look at you, dude. Look at you.
And that's Trevor Wallace. That's hilarious. These days, you don't even know.
This is the magic of AI. Look at that. I'd buy it.
I know. Wow. And it's very similar chests.
I'm very similar.
Yeah. How do you...
I'm just noticing how much more ripped Tony is now. Like, he was always strong, but goddamn, that dude got really strong over the last few years.
Yeah, well, he just has such a
him and Divine oftentimes when we're shooting down Charleston, those guys have the same schedule, and so every day that they're not working, they're just fucking pumping iron together.
Are they?
Just getting strong, spotting each other. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I remember they had a gay fella in our town. He was a drug dealer. So everybody wanted drugs. So also that's how you also kind of like met gay guys, or at the first time. So it was
they had
really
the cool treats.
Right. It was like, dude, yeah, these guys are fucking. But I think it did a lot for our town because some people who may not have branched out more, or just like had more questions, suddenly you were sitting there high as hell.
Yeah.
And then more gay people started kind of like.
Drugs are the great equalizer, right?
Oh, yeah.
It crosses every boundary known.
Oh, God, yes. Were the real life pastors that you used to that you sent your gemstone pastors like John Goodman and Baby Billy? Do you send them? Like, did you have them reflect on guys, or did you go watch? Did you get some front row tickets to some Osteen, or what were you doing?
You know what? A lot of it was just like watching videos and stuff, and then actually kind of went around and I did it. I interviewed a few different pastors just before I told them what I was making a show about, and just for my own ideas, my own insight. And people were responsive. They talked to me. My aunt, she actually sadly passed away just a few weeks ago, but she was a minister. So I talked to her a lot about the church and
really, what kind of church did she minister at?
I feel like she was it was in Atlanta, and it wasn't a mega church, but it was one of sort of these churches that can pop up in shopping centers and not look like your typical church. And she kind of moved into counseling after that as well. But I grew up in a household that was pretty religious. My mom was she did like puppet ministry when I was a child. She would like do the children's sermons and stuff like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And do they hide behind someone to do that? Is you out front?
It's like a little. We had this like PVC pipe frame with felt over it.
Yeah.
And then they'd hide behind there, and my mom had like boxes of these puppets, and she would drum up these little scripts and
mostly Bible characters.
No, sometimes there would be, but sometimes they would just be these characters, and they would have to learn Bible lessons.
God, that's crazy, bro. So there's like characters like suddenly Paul Revere's in one of the scenes.
Yes, exactly. But it was,
that's
so
cool.
I grew up with all that stuff. So yeah, that's the kind of shit we do right there. That was it.
Oh, this is great, Tom.
Yep.
And oh my God, yeah. And the guy on the right, obviously,
Yeah, he's learning stuff. He's learning about he's singing a song about sinkhole baby, you know, and about how Jesus raised him up out of the sinkhole, made him into a little raisin.
Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I'm trying to think if we had any puppet no, what did we have? We had a guy who was missing one finger. Puppeting's a lot of shoulder work. People don't think about that.
Got to have a lot of upper body strength.
Yeah. That's the French bulldog of
you stay like that.
the trauma region. Yeah, you're really building those shoulders. Is your mom pretty proud of you? What's you guys' relationship like?
We're good. We're strong. She moved. They lived in Virginia, and then when we moved down to Charleston, she moved there. My wife's from Los Angeles. You know, I met her out here. I was here for like 20 years. And so when I convinced her to move to Charleston with us, you know, figured it was only right. Me, her, and the kids come down. Her mom, who's Angelino, she moved down there too. So now for the first time in my life, I have I live in the same town as my parents. And yeah, it's kind of wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool, dude. You got to capture the whole dream. I think that's everybody's dream. I'm going to go. I'll show them. I'll move. I'll have the girl. I'll have the family. You know?
It's been nice, man. I always feel grateful for what we get to do, and but the fact that like this show, all the shows we've done, I've made it with all my buddies that I met in college. You know, guys I met when I was 18 years old. We're smoking weed together in the dorm rooms, talking about movies and all this shit, and now 25 years later, we're all still doing the same stuff. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, I wonder. I would like to get to meet a wife sometime soon. Where did you meet your wife? At a certain location?
I met her. She was like a friend of my neighbor when I lived in this shitty apartment over in West Hollywood. And so it was just kind of one of those things where you don't have any money to go to any of these expensive bars or clubs when you're in your early 20s out here. And,
unless you're the fucking Rizzler,
yeah,
huh?
except for the Rizzler. You're going to Craig's, dude. Drinking 2 Pepsis after 9. Living that high life.
I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, his grades are down, but the money's up, That's his fucking life.
I know. I've had that, moving. I went to college in North Carolina and moved here in '99, and man, this is a tough city to come into with nothing. It's hard living. I feel like when you get out here and you're waiting tables and PAing and just doing all this stuff, making no money, and
it hurts.
You can't go do anything, and every girl that's your age is dating someone who's 15 years older and
dating
successful.
Aerosmith or something.
It's tough.
And they take a girl on a world tour, and then you're like, I'm supposed to take her where for a walk? And how am I even going to compete? Dude, I remember on my birthday, I got out here. I've been out here for like a year, and I bought a used refrigerator, right? I was saving. When I finally went and looked at the price, I was probably saving $60, right? Nightmare. Had to borrow somebody's truck to go get it out towards Reseda, get it back home on my birthday. I spent my whole birthday doing this. I get it over to the door of our apartment, and it will not go in. It's just a little too wide. So now I have to take the fucking doors. I remember sitting against the wall crying. Yeah. I was on steroids, but I was also sitting there dude, parking spots were too small. You couldn't get out. You'd get a ticket and you would ding. Everything about LA was fucking impossible.
Yeah, and it felt too like when the city could be against you, like parking tickets, stuff like that. I mean, it just felt like when your day was bad, that's always when you would come out and there'd be a boot on your car and it would just get worse and worse and worse. And that's the other thing is, when you're kind of living on the edge like that, it feels like no one gives a shit either. Like people would walk over you, and if you were laying on the ground bleeding, yeah, it was tough.
Did you ever do stand up too, or no?
I never did stand up. No, I mean,
you desire to? You think?
I didn't really. Honestly, I didn't even really have any ambitions to be an actor. It's like I went to film school to write and to make. I always kind of imagined I would just be behind the camera and.
And that's true 100%?
100%, yeah. I mean, I didn't have any ambitions of trying to be an actor at all. David Green, who was another classmate of mine, he made this movie called All the Real Girls.
Bring it up.
It's a beautiful film about first love in Appalachia.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, but he had an actor who backed out of the show at the last minute, and it was an independent movie, and he just asked me to come down and play the role because he didn't have time to cast somebody else. And it was the very first time I ever acted in anything. And after Jody saw it, he wanted to make a movie, and he was like, well, you're the only person we know who's been in something, so it's funny that we thought that was a leg up. Just that dude right there we thought would somehow get something made.
Dude, it's so crazy though when you go from an idea like, even with this movie, like it was all emails, and then we show up one day on set, and there was a real movie going on. Dude, I had to sit down for a while. I was like, oh my God, I thought everybody was just fucking around. Like, and then it was a real movie, and there's like people, and people don't know what they're doing, and people do know what they're doing. People are yelling, and people are, but it was like, oh my God, this is really it. And then you realize it's so hard to make something really too, because so many little things happen. Like we got pushed by the fire for a week, and it was like suddenly that changes everything. And you don't know if people are, and then we had to shoot one day, the day with Steve Little, where it's like the winds were 40 miles an hour. We can't afford to reshoot. So it's like, fucking pretend that the winds aren't 40 miles an hour.
We had the same thing on Gemstones here. I mean, that's what a lot of this stuff becomes, is it becomes surrounding yourself with just strategists, like people on your team that just know how to solve problems, because that's what 100% what all making anything is you got your idea of what it's going to be, and then every day it's dealing with something that's coming your way to make it less than what you want it to be. Yeah. And you got to figure out how to navigate it. Yeah, when we shot the season of Gemstones, right near the end, like there's this like pretty specific location to this season, and I fought really hard to be able to get in this place and shoot there, but we only had limited time. And the night before we had to shoot like the last scene of the entire series, Hurricane Helena comes through that part of Carolina and just like decimated everything. And this location that we're at, it's like 100-mile-per-hour winds, no power. And it's like, there's no alternative. You know, we have to shoot this thing. You have to just do it. So it's like, well, once these hurricane force winds die down, maybe we'll try to get some extension cords and finish this thing off. And that's exactly what we did. It was crazy.
Damn, yeah. I think it's just no matter what level things are at, if you're doing something in your backyard and you and your brother plan to shoot something, and then halfway through his attitude changes and he goes in the house. Yeah. It's like it's always, and that ruins whatever your little plan was. It's always something, right? Yeah. There's always something that's going to show up. How do you know when a show is done like this?
You know, I wasn't sure with this. I mean, I've been really lucky with HBO that they've always been real supportive of the stuff I want to do, and they're awesome partners to have in this. And man, I think it kind of just came as we started writing this season. To me, it just felt like it. I felt like when I was starting to write it, like everything I was kind of gravitating towards was like about closure and sort of wrapping up these characters like longer stories. And so I kind of kept myself open while we were shooting, like in case I got any other ideas of like maybe I'd come back and do another one. But as we kind of shot more and more, it felt like it was the end. It felt like it. Yeah. And I don't know. TV is one of those things too where it's a strange art form, because if it's good, the reward is you just get to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. But sometimes that doesn't necessarily make for the best story, you know, just to have, you know, all right, this is like the 10th time these characters have almost died. You know,
like Lost or whatever, that show.
Yeah, where things can overstay their welcome. And, you know, I mean, people are getting hit with so many things these days. Like there's so many things vying for your attention. It's a lot to ask an audience to like stick with the show for 10 years or something. You know what I mean? And just think that your tastes in 10 years will be the same as it was when the first season came out. So for me, I didn't want to stay in it longer than we needed to. I never wanted to make it something where it didn't matter. I always kind of wanted to make sure it was relevant and something we were all having fun doing, and never kind of evolve into something that just feels like a job.
Yeah. Was there something special that you like to do for your crew and stuff like that? Like you talk so much about like the guys that work for you and work with you. I'm sure you use a lot of the same crew and stuff too, because you develop relationships. You know how people are going to work. You know what people will be there for you on those, you know, when it's 1 a.m. and you're like, what the fuck are we going to do right now? What's something you like to do for them? I've heard that you do nice things for them.
Yeah, we just like to party. I mean, to me, I feel like it's one of those deals. We like to rock and roll. But I do feel like, you know, especially living down there, when you're asking people to come work on the show, you're asking them to like leave their lives, leave the comfort of their homes, sometimes leave their spouse or their partner, and come down there for, you know, 6 months to come work with you. I've been on stuff where I've been on location, and it's sort of like, yeah, good luck, buddy. You know, you're just kind of end up, you don't know anybody. You're sitting in a hotel room. It's the worst. And so I always just try to.
At a Westin.
Yeah, exactly. I just try to avoid that. I mean, obviously everyone's different. People want their own. Sometimes people want to be left alone in the Westin, but I try to just make everybody feel like they're at home when they come there, like try to make them have a good time. And ultimately it's like, you know, for me, it's the whole idea that we get to make this shit is so much fun. Like, I don't even watch these things after we're done. I don't even go back and watch any of this stuff again. My experience with it is like the act of making it. That feels like the climax to me. I oversee like every cut of this show and in post. But yeah, once this stuff like is done, I'm kind of done with it. You know, it kind of feels, even the old movies from Pineapple to Tropic, it's like, I'll see them at the premiere, and then I oftentimes just will never even see them again. You know, I'll see clips of things online and be like, "Oh, that's crazy! I remember that."
Yeah.
But I don't know. I have a lot of fun making this stuff. I like collaborating with people, like you were saying, those problems that come up, solving that stuff, that feeling of accomplishment when you do sort of dodge a bullet. Like that's the excitement and the fun for me.
Yeah, I notice I don't like the acting part. I notice I like the giving somebody an idea and be like, and not telling the other actors and stuff and be like, try this, dude.
Yeah, and then seeing what that creates. Yeah, that's the beauty of it all.
Yeah, we had this one moment like Spade is like taking this dog for a ride because the company he works for, this company called Last Lap. They give dogs rides like they're about to be euthanized or whatever. He gives them a couple more spins around town, you know, in his car.
That's nice. That's a nice thing to do.
Yeah, sweet guy. So he pulls up and then it's like Kirk Fox, you know who he is?
Mm-hmm.
Kirk Fox pulls up next to him in a truck, and Kirk's just been like looting in the area, I guess, sort of stoplight. And he's like, "What do you guys get anything good?" He's like, "Yeah, we just got a hot lead on John Bonet's wedding dress, right?"
And that came from your dome. That was out of your pocket.
Snuck over just like a fucking like a fucking Navy SEAL. I just put this little fucking. I just shined that cock right in his soul, and then I went off and hid in the distance. And that's what I noticed. That's the only thing I always loved. I always liked, even when we were a kid, like we would go like not getting molested, what's called camping with people's dads, right? And
getting molested. No, you were right. The first thing you said was right.
It was like Cub Scouts or whatever. But I remember one time we left and I told everybody that Jay Leno had died, right? And you couldn't check back then.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole weekend you would hear the dads talking about it, kind of reminiscing about Leno and some of their favorite guests and shit. And I would be in my tent laying down, just crying out of my fucking little penis. I was crying out of laughing so fucking hard.
That kind of stuff was Boy Scout camps. I went to a Boy Scout camp when I was a kid, and I remember it was like we had this. Our Cub Master was one of the kids' dads, and it was him with 12 boys, and we're camping. And he just got, over the course of the week, he just got stranger and stranger. And at one point, he just kind of like left the camp for a while, and it had been a bit since he'd been back there. And every night we would always notice that he'd go into his tent and he would just like lay down and put these headphones on and just kind of lay there. And so I was so curious, like, what is this motherfucker listening to? And I'm probably like 12 years old. And when he was gone, I snuck into his tent and I picked up his headphones and I put it on and hit play. They were like messages from his wife talking about how he was a good man and like, it made me terrified of the rub. Like, let's just get me home. This guy's sitting in here just like listening to his wife pump him up and with these 12 boys in the woods.
Oh my God. That's so sweet of her to make all that.
Why did he need it though? Like, that's what it was like. It seemed like the tires were about to fall off. He
Probably keeping him off the end of a fucking rope, dude. That's crazy, dude.
I almost got sent home from that camp too because I pulled a knife on a kid. Not for real.
No, of course
but I
not.
had that. When you're that age and you have your little knives, your little Boy Scout knives, you're constantly playing with it. And I guess this other troop walked past us and I'd pulled that knife out and they thought I was like fucking threatening someone, and I had to go into the office and explain myself, and I got my knife taken away for the rest of the week.
Yeah, dude, there was something I remember like when I was a kid, we'd get one thing we would do for fun. I remember the mosquito truck would come by and we'd get on our bikes and fucking ride behind it and just huff the gas.
Just get high.
Bro, we would be fucking cooked, dude. Just like unbelievable.
A trail of dead mosquitoes around. Everybody's singing.
Bro, dude, if I got went near a bird, it would die after that. Like anything that could fucking hit the airwaves was dead. I couldn't even pick up AM radio, bro. I was like, anything that could fly that was something fun. I remember being in the woods and somebody would say like, I saw something, and then you would run. The fear that went, you didn't see anything, somebody did, and they started to leave, and suddenly you were alone. Even if you were one step alone in the woods from your friend, it was like, it's going to get me. There was
the
like
unknown.
Yeah,
we used to.
Was the best.
I grew up in Virginia, and it was a neighborhood that was like brand new. It was like in the 80s. And like, so it was all woods and stuff and all construction. It was all like they were just building one of those big subdivisions, and we were like one of the first houses in there. And so me and my friends would just have like the run of that place. I mean, we were constantly doing that, but there was like this one construction site, and we were young. This is probably like 4th or 5th grade. We would just like go there at nighttime and just like take all their lumber and their shit and go make ramps and go build tree houses. And there was this one house that we kept doing it to, and it was a construction site. And we built like a tree fort with all the wood. And I guess the guys who were building the house found out where it was at, and we came out to our tree fort, and they had like ripped everything down. They had like taken it all down. So then that next day we went to that place and we fucking destroyed that house. We took cinder blocks and threw it through the walls. We were like these 4th graders thinking we're just going to show these guys what's
Meanwhile, there's some family that has to stay at
just no sense. But it was like we took it personal, like we stole that lumber fair and square.
Yeah.
Like
these they're gonna fucking
on our Diamondback, freestyle bikes, our BMX bikes, just thinking we ran that shit. Yeah.
Dude, I was trying to. Oh, we had a glitter. I don't know if it was a glitter truck. I think it was a glitter truck that toppled over like in the interstate near us, and it was like kind of a windy time of year, and our fucking town had glitter in the area for 2 years.
In your lungs, everywhere.
I mean, you couldn't even. You'd meet somebody and half of them would have fucking.
They're shining.
It's crazy, dude. Those are good days. It is crazy how if you have a construction site, if you're building a house, if any kids in the neighborhood, all they do is get in there and break shit.
They have no concept of like someone's paid money for this. Someone's waiting to move their family in. It just is looked at as like this doesn't matter. No one lives here, so we can do what we want.
God, those are the best times, man. I enjoy using Acorns. I enjoy setting it up. I got it set up for my nieces and nephews. It just to help them start to save, right? To recognize and look at money and finances and just have it be a part of their existence. Acorns is a financial wellness app that makes it easy to start saving and investing for your future. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that matches you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you get started with the spare money you've got right now, even if all you've got is spare change. That's what I like about it for my nieces and nephews. If they spend a little bit of money, the change goes into their savings. So they start to recognize, they start to get an idea of how to use savings. Right now with Acorns, you can sign up and join the over 14 million all-time customers who have already saved and invested over $25 billion with Acorns. Plus, Acorns will boost your new account with a $20 bonus investment. Offer available at acorns.com/THEO. That's acorns.com/Theo to get your $20 bonus investment today. I can't recommend them more. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 4 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/THEO. You know, I'm still recovering from 2024. Jeepers. I don't know how, what? I still am. I know it's March. I know it's my April. Here I am. That's just who I am. Life in general can be chaotic. But if you're in charge of order fulfillment for an e-commerce business, you know that's its own special kind of chaos. But with ShipStation, you can count on your day-to-day remaining calm. Save hours and money every month by shipping from all your stores with one login, automating repetitive tasks, and finding the best rates among all the global carriers. Using ShipStation helped us get packages in and out. We got to get some of this, some of that. Celsius is sending a new, we got to get merch, boom, ShipStation. They're there. You never need to upgrade. ShipStation grows with your business no matter how big it gets. Calm the chaos of order fulfillment with the shipping software that delivers. Switch to ShipStation today. Go to ShipStation.com and use code Theo to sign up for your free trial. That's ShipStation.com, code THEO. Yeah, that's the stuff that I think sometimes about getting older. It's like, do you ever start to think like that you only get to do so many things? Does that start to become a thing in your head at all? I mean, you've been, so proclivative or whatever it's called, but
prophylactics.
Prophylactics, yeah. You've been so prophylactics, But do you ever start to think about that? Like, shit, I gotta, or is it kind of like, I know I've had that a good amount of time to make what I've wanted.
I sense it with my kids. When I was living out here in Los Angeles, like we lived up off of Mulholland, and my son was like, he was like in kindergarten. He's starting to like, he's like, I want to learn to ride a bike. And I'm like, why? You're never going to be able to like ride a bike up here on Mulholland, And I started seeing that. I'm like, oh, he's not going to have the same experiences I had, that level of freedom of just kind of like coming home from school, dropping your book bag off and just like taking off until the sun went down. And that stuff is important, that little bit of independence. I kind of kept feeling like every time he got to play with somebody, there was always like me and my wife having to like orchestrate it and sit there in the background watching them play. And,
Yeah.
And that was kind of honestly like the main reason why I wanted to move back to the South is I just kind of wanted to go somewhere where he could, unleash. He could get on a bike and have a little bit of freedom and kind of have that, It feels like you can always move to the big city, but it's definitely harder if you're a city boy to kind of like go back, go somewhere small. So I kind of wanted them to have a little bit of that sort of life, a little taste of that,
Yeah.
And because like you said, it goes by quick, it's pretty soon. You can't just go destroy a construction site without ending up in prison. I wanted him to be able to go destroy some construction sites and just get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, some drywall. Yeah, I wanted him to fucking beat up some drywall. Yeah, I moved to Nashville a few years ago, and I like it over there. I just live in like a regular neighborhood. My neighbors are just like, as a soccer coach, it's like it's neat, I like it. It's more peaceful. It feels just like a very small city.
Yeah, Nashville's fun. I like it down there. I think it's cool.
It's fun over there, definitely. And it's like Chattanooga's fucking great. You been there?
I haven't been there.
God, dude.
It's fun, huh?
Yeah, it's just like there's like mountains, whitewater rafting. Everything you wish was in Nashville that isn't.
Yeah.
And it's smaller, feels good.
Oh, I got to go over there. I'd never even been to Nashville until we moved to Charleston. I think my wife and I were just like looking for what was a quick trip away, and Nashville is so close that we saw it. But I think it's fun down there. So Chattanooga, though, I got to check that out, huh?
Chattanooga's beautiful, man. They have this
Look at
beautiful
that.
walking bridge where you walk. It's like it used to be a bridge, but they shut it down or whatever because it couldn't bridge anymore or whatever. So basically it's just like
it stopped bridging.
Yeah, it's just like a brave road really at that point. But they turned it into a walking bridge, and so they built like a newer one next to it. And but just the whole area is awesome, man. It's beautiful. They have a place called Lookout Mountain there where you can see like 7 states or something from it.
Wow.
A lot of Civil War shit. If you're big into Civil War reenactments and shit,
Yep.
like my buddy's dad used to referee those and shit, so we'd go watch those a lot. And like, so I love that kind of shit.
Me
dude.
too.
I love a fucking cannon, dude.
I love Civil War stuff too. I grew up in, after we left California, I grew up. I spent most of my time in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and so there's a ton of Civil War stuff there. And my backyard, I'd find like Civil War bullets and stuff. I mean, we were all, it was that stuff loomed heavily over my childhood just because it was so close. I mean, I even have a buddy that his old man would put on night vision goggles and go out to the national park battlefields and go metal detecting because that's a federal crime. You're not allowed to go do that shit. And he would go out there and just like outrun those park rangers and just get bullets and bayonets and like all this stuff. We'd always like play around with all that stuff in his garage. It's kind of amazing.
He's writing his dad in prison. Dear Dad, thanks for the rusty bayonet.
It was worth every minute.
Bro, that shit was a big part of growing up in this house. Somebody would be like, dude, they found arrowheads on our property.
Yeah.
Rusty shit. They found a fucking canteen from 70 years ago.
Yeah.
That was a huge thing about growing up in the South.
It is. My buddy who still lives back there, I went to go visit him a few years ago, and we were supposed to catch
In Virginia?
up. In Virginia. We were going to catch up downtown for a few beers, and he's like, hey, man, come back behind the high school here. Like, I want to show you something. It's like, uh-oh, here we go. But I went back behind the school, and we kind of like walked down to the woods, and we come down there, and he's found this place that he's like completely like roped off like it was an archaeological dig site.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on back here? And he's like, man, I think I found like an old Indian camp here. And he started showing me all this shit that he had found. It was like weird like pottery and arrowheads and all this stuff. And it was amazing. He found it on his own. And he was just like, yeah, man, there's so much of that stuff here that basically if you just like look for some place that had like access to water and had a lot of sunlight during the course of the day, that 9 times out of 10, somebody would have saw that as a place to set up camp. And then you start digging around and it's all under there. And like, man, it was cool. But it made me start looking at it everywhere a little differently. You know, it's cool.
Yeah, dude, they had a guy who hid treasure. Do you see that? He hid treasure for like 10 years. Somebody finally found it.
Oh, wow.
He hid a couple $1 million treasure, and it finally got found a few years ago. He made like a treasure, like a story about it.
Oh, gotcha. So he had like a little, like, put a call out.
Scavenger hunt, and people looked for it for years. A couple people died looking for it.
Oh, that's sick.
God, I used to always want to look for bodies on the side of the interstate. That's my big thing.
Oh, you were just trying to make a sequel to Stand By Me? Just trying to find Browers, Flowers, whatever the fuck his name was?
Yeah. Staying by I-65 is what it's going to be called. But yeah, that's something that I always wanted to do. I want to ask you about your kids before you leave. What's something that you admire about your children, if you're okay talking about your children?
Yeah, of course. It was
cool of you to leave for that one of the reasons you wanted to leave, that was for them. It's kind of neat, like, to be able to do choices like that, like with social media, just like to make kind of like choices that are for the betterment of yourself or others it's harder to do these days than I think people think. So it's something that it seems pretty neat that you're able to do. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, well, like I said, my wife is from Los Angeles. She grew up here, so she had never really lived outside of California. And I liked LA. I liked living here. I had a blast. But yeah, once I had kids, it wasn't like I thought they would have like a terrible childhood growing up here, but I just knew that there were going to be certain things that they wouldn't be exposed to that I just thought would be useful for them to be exposed to. And my wife and I, we headed down to Charleston for a long weekend to kind of like just take a look at it without the kids and just sort of like, could we do this? Like, could we make a run at this? What are we going to do? And we had looked at some houses, and then we were kind of sitting in this bar just having a drink, kind of like writing down on a napkin like the pluses and minuses, like how realistic it would be. And I remember looking out the window, and there was like a group of probably 10 kids, like probably between the ages of like 7 and 15, on skateboards and bikes and jean shorts, no shirts, carrying fishing poles, not a parent in sight. And I was like, yeah, we got to move here. Like, this is like exactly what I want our kids to be able to do, is just that. I want them to be able to like be free to kind of like explore the world and to see things without having to worry about them so much. And so that was cool. And I mean, my kids are just, I don't know, my daughter is like insanely funny. She's 10 years old, and she is. I mean, honestly, like before she even talked, she was giving people the bird, flicking people off. Like I channel her in that character, Judy, the sister in Righteous Gemstones.
You do?
I do. I channel my daughter in that a lot of times.
Dude, I got to interview that lady one time. She's the most talented.
Best, She's the best.
God.
Edie's amazing.
That's so funny that you would channel even a child.
Yes. And Edie and my daughter have a very special relationship. Edie calls it that they're in the Bad Girls Club. And so every time Edie talks to my daughter, she'll be like, Bad Girls Club, and Pina will give her a high five. But yeah, my daughter came by the set this year, and there was a dead body on the set, not a real one, but and there was like fake blood, and she was like kind of obsessed with like, what is this? There's fake blood, like what is that? And I started realizing, like, oh man, yeah, she doesn't have any concept of what this is or what I do when I leave. And she kind of got really obsessed with this idea of fake blood. And our props master gave her this big tub of like, fake movie blood.
Oh, that's great.
And she uses it all the time.
Really?
She'll call us in, and she'll be like laying in the shower with like blood coming out of her belly button and out of her neck, and pretending to be she's a sicko.
Yeah, it seems like things are going good over there. What I would, dude, my brother, so my dad was like real old when I was born. My dad was 70. He was an older man, and so my brother used to do this thing. I've talked about it before on my comedy show, but he'd be like, Dad's dead. He'd come in the room, right?
That was his bit?
Because Dad was like, Dad would be 79. And
Dad's dead.
He'd come in, I'd be doing something, he'd be like, Dad's dead. And I'd be like, the first time I was like, no, don't, and I'd go in there and he would be alive, right? And then it got to this is where I knew this is when something I think got weird maybe in my head, because I would be like, he better fucking be dead or I'm gonna beat your ass, right? It became like just the whole juxtaposition of that little thing in my head. Like if I'm gonna get up now,
I better see a dead body. I'm gonna be pissed off.
Yeah, that bastard.
And then look, you got older and you did that to other people by telling people Jay Leno was dead.
That's true.
You helped spread that trauma.
Yeah, dude, I love that kind of stuff. There was something so much fun about being young. And Michael Landon was supposed to come to our town one time and meet people at the fair, and my mom got all dressed up and went, and he didn't come.
Oh, that's a bummer.
That was a heartbreak.
Is that what you have, that Michael Landon cutout there?
Yeah, we like to have that. I'm a big Highway to Heaven fan. I'm a big Victor French fan. You kind of look like a young Victor French,
I'll
actually.
take that. I loved Highway to Heaven.
God.
That was good.
It was so
I
good.
wouldn't have pegged you for a Highway to Heaven fan. That's good to know.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, we grew up on that, TBS, the Olsons. Oh, yeah, look at him.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he's a good dude. Look at that.
Yeah, that's very you.
I think we could do that. I could see you being Michael Landon. I think let's redo Highway to Heaven. That's the next thing. Let's do it, dude. We'll call it Highway to Hell. How about that?
Yeah, dude. It'll be just one off ramp.
Yeah, we just meet people and ruin their lives. That's what we do.
It reminds me of the movie Family Man. Have you seen that movie?
Which one is that?
With Nicolas Cage. It's a Christmas movie.
Oh, yeah. It's been a long time. But yes, I remember that film.
I love that movie, dude. That's one of my favorites. The first movie I ever saw, I think, was, that's it right there. Did you ever get to work with Nicolas Cage?
I haven't, but I'm such a fan of his, man. He's so awesome.
Yeah, he seems so interesting.
Yeah, and that little turn he had in Long Legs last year, I mean, how scary is that?
Dark Arts.
Dark Arts, yes. Satan shit.
Yeah, dude. I think we need more of it. You know what I'm saying?
That's definitely what I think. When I look at the state of the world, I feel like what the world needs now is more devil.
Let's fucking party, dude. Let's amp this bitch up. Was there ever something weird, like once you started making some money? Because making money is an interesting thing, right? Like some people really get into it and that's their thing. But it's like, were there ever like a team that you wanted to invest in or some interesting thing that like, that somebody might consider? Was there anything like that for you?
Man, I don't think I have ever. I mean, I think growing up without any money, it's like the moment you get your hands on some, you just try to sock it away because you're thinking they're coming to take it at any moment.
Oh, yeah.
So I need to start being a little bit more ambitious with my spending, though, and just relax a little bit, probably.
Yeah, that time I'm just scared. It's like, well, what if, it's just scary. And then also, what do I really want?
Yeah.
I think I want to start like a halfway house, but that makes clothing too, dude.
Oh, yeah. Put those fuckers to work.
Be like, this shirt's dope. Yeah, that's kind of a dumb joke, but thank you for laughing at that.
I like it. It is dope.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, what was something else that I was thinking about? Because I'll never see you again, but I was just trying to think of what it is.
You don't think we'll ever see each other again? Is this it?
No, it'd be awesome if we did.
I feel like we might.
Do you get impressed by a lot of the stuff that you see out there? Like, do you get inspired? Like, you'll see a movie, you'll see something, you're like, it makes you want to keep making more? Do you think you'll take a little bit of a break? What do you kind of think? Or you already have something you're making next?
Nah, I think I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I mean, like I said earlier, like my hobby is basically writing and creating, so I'm sure I won't stop that. But, it takes a lot to make something like this. Gemstones, I've been on this now for, 7 years of working on this thing full time. And, I'm looking forward to just chilling out for a little bit and spending time with the fam. But, as soon as you start doing that, then you'll get an idea for something else. And so I feel like I'll always want to make stuff, but it's also good to just enjoy your life a little bit too, and not be so worried all the time about what's going to be next, and just kind of take it easy.
Yeah, I get definitely caught up. Like I have to do this or this, but then sometimes I do start to notice a little bit more. Like I want to chill out because I want to give my brain time to think, so it's fun for me. It's like
so it can heal.
Yeah, that used to be the most fun, dude. When your brain gives you an idea and it just makes you laugh. You're by yourself or whatever.
Totally. Yep. And then you got to share it.
What about your son? You said about your daughter. What about your son?
My son, he's just gotten into lacrosse. Tony Cavallero, actually, he's helped us out. Tony Cavallero is a big deal in the lacrosse world. I don't know if you knew this.
I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, he's a big deal, and my son has shown an interest in it. So Tony has like kind of pushed us in the right direction of getting him into a cool team, and that lacrosse shit is pretty cool, man. I've been with him through all his different interests in sports, from baseball to football, and you go on to those little Parks and Rec teams, and it's always just some kid's dad coaching. The lacrosse shit though is like the coaches are young; they're like athletes right out of college. I feel like the kids just respond to them in a different way than they do somebody's dad. It's cool. It's good to watch.
Huh. Yeah, that's interesting. I've never heard anybody even talk about that except for this girl Mubi that works with Barstool Sports. She played lacrosse, so I would see her. Oh, one of my friends from New York would talk about it sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about it at all, and then I watched it. I'm like, this shit is hardcore. I mean, they like knock each other down on the ground, hit each other with these sticks, and I was surprised my son was even into it. I saw him getting out there whacking people. I'm like, oh damn, here we go.
What does he admire about it? You think?
I don't know, man. I think that the stick is pretty cool, but you got those pads. The gear is pretty awesome, but I mean, it is a pretty rough and tumble sport.
Is there ever moments?
And you look like that. You just knock the shit out of people and knock them on the ground. It's
and
like,
then,
and you see kids doing that. You see them doing it, and you're like, oh, you're allowed to do that. They don't stop it or anything. That's like part of the game. It's pretty badass. Boom! Look at that. I've seen a 10-year-old do that to another 10-year-old.
God, that's beautiful. God, you got to stop and drink that. Is it interesting whenever you see your kid, like say you take him to lacrosse and he likes it, is it interesting that you learn something about him by watching him start to like something?
Totally. Yeah, you start trying to think. I mean, parents are probably the worst thing you can do is kind of like always push your kids into what you're into and expect that, you using their childhood as a way to kind of like work out all your demons. It's like, I try not to do that with my kids. Like, I don't even think my kids even like movies, It's like, I've tried to like have movie nights with them and stuff. And they're like, yeah, we're good. They don't see it. You're like, you're part of that dying art form. I got no interest. I want to watch Mr. Beast. I want to watch them Beast Squid Games.
Yeah, dude, that shit is pretty good. Some of it.
It is good. I like all that shit that they watch. I think it's fun. There's that one kid, I think his name is Ryan Trainer or something. He does like the stuff where he has like 10 cents and he tries to like make money to get across the country. He keeps,
I haven't seen him. Pull him up, Ryan Trainer.
I think that's his name. But I like this stuff, dude. I like watching. I'm like, no wonder y'all aren't watching movies, man. You guys have this all dialed in. Yeah, he'll like start with like a penny and like figure out a way to get across the country with just starting with that.
Wow, Ryan Trahan.
Trahan, that's what it is.
I've never even heard of this. And it's crazy. This video has 60 million views, right? Like, it's crazy how much is out there that you've never even heard of, and you'll be exposed. You'll be like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Wow. I'd like to meet this kid. There's these kids, Kobe and Sam, that are like these ghost hunter kids I want to get to meet. It's, I was never brave enough to vlog. We just had some streamers in, and that lifestyle's insane, man. 8 hours in a row.
It's wild, huh?
Dude, and think about that, 8 hours, right? And you have to be yourself, so you can't really hide who you are at all. And then you have to go home, and then come back and
do it all over again. I know. It takes a different type of brain to do that. That's what they like, though, I think. I mean, he watches kids play video games, and I try to get my head around that. I'm like, but you know what? I do remember being a kid, like over at your friend's house, sitting around the couch, watching somebody try to beat a game, and the shit was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess they're just not doing it maybe together as much, but maybe they are. I don't know. This could be a phase in time. I mean, we would go play at the church parking lot, dude. Anybody that would answer the door on the way down the street, it was 3 or 4 blocks to get down there. If you answered the fucking door, you were playing defense, right? So we would knock on the doors about 3:40 in the afternoon, walk down there, and there was a hole. Somebody, I don't know who put it out there, like the devil or whatever, but in the field, they had a field in front of the church off of Highway 190 over there in Covington, and sometimes every 2 years, somebody would step into the hole and break their leg or ankle.
Perfect. That's what it was there for.
Yeah, that's it, dude. That's a fucking free safety, bitch. That's what that is. That was fucking crazy, though. But yeah, if you answered the door, you had to come play, man. And we would get on our bikes and we would ride. They had like a ride probably about 1.5 miles over this place called Pat's Shrimp and Video, right?
Oh, I like that.
You get a bag of shrimp, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't all you could eat, but it was like all they could put in the bag. And you would get to rent a movie, dude.
I love that.
God, dude.
Terminator, I miss a video store, don't you? I miss that stuff. That was fun.
There was nothing. Dude, I went to the last Blockbuster in Oregon probably 2 years ago. And these are the things I found fascinating about it. For one, you're not just stuck with what the platform, like the app or whatever we look on it now, Netflix, et cetera, is putting in front of you, like those 10 or 12 movies at a time. You get to kind of consciously wander and you're like, oh, I forgot about this
Yeah,
movie,
yeah,
right? Oh, what? No way. He was in that. They did a movie together. You see all of these fronts of movies. You'll see 300 of them while you're in there, and you'll be like, drama, I'll do with that. Like different ones, like diabetes is a section. There's like some of the sections have gotten a little bit more casual than before.
Pretty specific, yes.
Yeah,
I'm gonna get me a good diabetes movie this weekend. This is what I want to watch.
Yeah, I want to see. Yeah, I want to see these lactose intolerant films, whatever. But it's a totally different experience. There was. It's in Bend, Oregon, which is a great place. If you only about 4 or 5 nice months out of the year at all, though. To be honest with you, a lot of bad.
That's
stuff.
why they got that Blockbuster still in business, man. They needed it.
But your brain would be like, oh, well, what do you? And you talk with your friend. What do you think about this? You kind of discuss it. It just like it was much more. It was so much different than. Oh, I'm just going to pick one off of here. It didn't even feel the same.
I think movies needed it. I do. I think that like when you have access to all of it, it makes all of it not that special. And I think weirdly there was something about like if you went to the video store and you wanted to see a movie and it wasn't in, it made you instantly think that movie was a bigger deal than anything. And then like when you finally got it, you would have all this other stuff invested in like, wow, I'm so lucky I got Under Siege. It's here. It's in my house.
Steven Seagal, was he in that?
He was, yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Van Damme, when I was growing up, that shit was blood sport.
I can't believe that that's a genre that doesn't really exist. You're just like, are there no like 20-year-olds who know martial arts that are good looking, that can just whip ass and be action heroes? Like, what is going on? People don't want to see that anymore?
It's a great point. Yeah, a lot of that kind of stuff doesn't exist. I just watched Interstellar the other day. That was cool. But yeah, that genre doesn't exist, man. Garbage Pail Kids cards, we ride and get those bitches.
Yeah, that stuff was good. That's good living.
Oh, you'd get your ass beat.
You just sit there watching Highway to Heaven. That's us, dude. We got this.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, dude. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah.
I look like I've obviously done some cocaine. And
yeah,
you
dude,
look like.
Yeah, that looks like
you
me,
just got out of jail. Yeah, that looks like you.
That looks like me after I watched some of them diabetes films.
I know.
Got a little too deep into it.
You'll be the Wilford Brimley, dude.
That's right.
Dude, my dad bought this car off like some kind of blackish, kind of black guys that lived by us. And it was like some guys that were in the culture with like the big speakers in the car. And at that time, it was white and black guys that had the speakers in the trunk. But he bought a Cutlass off of him and he would listen to like Paul Harvey and shit like in his car.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just blast this bass
low
in
bass
there.
for no reason.
Paul Harvey. Yeah.
That's how I was in my high school too. It's like all the you could count that any kid who had like the shittiest car would have just straight up stadium speakers in the back of it.
Unreal.
Every screw rattling in the car.
Fucking unreal, dude. That was so much fun, man. Being alive has been fun, huh?
Yeah, not too bad. We'll see.
It's been an adventure. Do you like parenting? Is it something that you really enjoy doing? Do you kind of like, was that something that what is something surprising that you found about parenting? And then we'll get you out of here.
Man, I do like it. I think it's fun. What's fun about it, man, is like, I try to stay pretty involved in my kids' lives. Like, I don't want to, I know it goes by quick and I don't want to like miss it all and then have all these regrets, when my kids don't want to talk to me when they're all grown. I try to take my kids to school every morning. But you know what? It was fun as they got into school, like going back, like walking in for a parent-teacher conference and having to sit in those little chairs and talk to the teacher and be like, I forgot all about this shit. And you just remember all these feelings and emotions of what comes around with the first day of school. And I don't know, it's kind of – and then just seeing childhood from this side of it, and you kind of also realize how short it is. When I was a kid, I thought my parents' whole existence started when I began, and that was their whole life. And then you kind of realize, man, that time period was just a blink in the eye for them. And it's the same. I feel like it goes by so quick. My son's like 13; he's going to be in 8th grade next year, and I already find myself just getting like sappy and sad, just like, it's been a good run. I've really enjoyed raising you.
Yeah, because I guess once they hit, like,
they don't need you as much. I mean, already now it's like we at nighttime, we'll all sit down to hang, and he'll be upstairs on the game or talk with his friends. You kind of it happens quick.
Damn.
Yeah.
Does it hurt a little bit? You can't really express that to him because that's kind of weird, huh?
Yeah, it does hurt a little bit, but you also it's good. You want him to be independent. You don't want him just sitting there trying to suck off the teat, for too long. You need him to kind of get out there and want to spread those wings.
Yeah. Have you ever wanted to pull off like a heist or something? That's my last question for you.
Yeah, of course. Who hasn't, man? Rob somebody? Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
I'm not even talking about a corporation. I'm talking about just some sucker walking down the street with a nice watch on.
If you were to do a bank robbery, you had to go in there with a couple of guys. Who do you bring in there with you, Danny?
Well, I think after this wonderful conversation, I feel like you'd be game. I'd bring you in. I'd bring Tony Caballero in. Maybe you guys could confuse people by them not knowing who's who. You know, that could be a good distraction. I'd take the whole gang of Righteous Gemstones in there, man. Even John Goodman. He can throw down. I think we could take anybody. We'd take all that money.
Well, he beat all that fat he had.
Yeah, he did. He beat the shit out of that. Yeah,
he sure did.
And John is such a massive dude. He's so tall.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's a towering presence.
Well, he was there was a rumor that he had lived in Bogalusa, Louisiana. So he was always like one of these like rumored people that lived in the distance, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So there was always a strong love for John Goodman from Louisiana area.
Yeah, he's I grew up always loving him, always. And it was insane to be able to get to work with him on this show. It'll be one of the things I'll miss the most about making this show was getting to see him every season.
Really?
Yeah, he was great. Awesome.
What makes him so great? I mean, obviously he's a generational talent. He's a father. He's been a father to half of America over times.
You look at him, it's like he was making TV shows when TV wasn't cool, and he would still be able to go pop in and work with the Coen brothers. And, he just was doing his own thing and been doing it for this long and always funny, always good. I mean, he never shows up in something and it's not impressive. And, it's funny, like even being an actor and looking around, you look at it and you're like, most people have maybe a handful of years in them, like you look at people and you really do. Like I would think about actors that I saw in movies when I was a kid, and you'd kind of be like, oh man, what happened to that person? And then you'd kind of look at their filmography and you're like, oh man, most people only have a span of a few years, maybe even a decade, and then they kind of disappear. And
good point. Just like with your favorite sports players.
Yeah. And then but you look at a guy like Goodman and how long he's been working, and you realize like that's no easy feat, and that he stays relevant and he stays good, and the stuff he chooses is cool, and the roles he plays are cool. It's it's admirable.
Yeah. Yeah, Carol O'Connor's buried not far from my apartment in Westwood.
Oh, wow.
And I'll take people over there a lot of times, and if they're visiting in town or whatever. And he's definitely one of my favorites because of In the Heat of the Night.
Oh, yeah.
God, that show was so good.
Oh, I like your TV picks, dude. You're a In the Heat of the Night guy and Highway to Heaven.
Yeah, I love like kind of Southern kind of, I love those things, man. Those are some of my favorites for sure. But what was I who was that? Oh, Carol O'Connor. Who else is buried there? Marilyn Monroe.
Boom.
Same cemetery.
In the same coffin, I hear.
Errol. That's good. Yeah. I heard she's working nights.
They doubled them up.
Yeah. Errol Flynn. I'm just going to keep advertising this place. Errol Flynn. Oh, Hugh Hefner's buried there also. Walter Matthau.
Wow.
So anyway,
which cemetery is this? Is that Hollywood Forever Cemetery?
No, it's in fucking Westwood, dude. You wouldn't even know it. It's behind a building. You're like, what the fuck? It's like behind a Nextel building. There's no other like blocks of grass anywhere near it. It's just like big buildings, tall, huge buildings, and then there's this one little bitty. It's fucking 40 square yards.
Wow, that's that.
Got some kings in that bitch. A lot of Persians in there too. A lot of names you can't really pronounce, but that's it right there, dude.
Beautiful.
Walter Matthau's in that bitch, dude.
That's what's so crazy about LA is I feel like the LA has done a really shitty job of like maintaining the history of this place. I feel like every time I try to rent an apartment back in the day, everyone would tell you like, oh, Charlie Chaplin lived down the street. Charlie Chaplin was here. But you're like, you realize this shit is these people mean something to people, and the idea that like so much gets built and torn down, like I feel like you look at Hollywood Boulevard, you're like, man, this should just be like Colonial Williamsburg. This should be some shit where you just walk in and it looks exactly like it used to back in the day.
That's a great point.
It's like this is such a unique. There's such a unique history to this place that it's kind of sad that all you can do is go to a little cemetery to go see these things. It'd be kind of cool if you could walk in the same bars and restaurants they did, or
you go by their apartment. If you got to go by the apartment that Walter Matthau lived in,
I think it would mean something to people. It really would.
That's a good point. I never thought about that. Yeah, because you'll go like we'll preserve some places like Charleston preserves their history. I like a lot of but Hollywood just Hollywood's never had much of a memory. Kind of, I feel like it just.
Well, and it's a thing. I think in the day, everyone's just trying to survive. But now, when you kind of look back at what Hollywood is, you're like, wow, there's some pretty influential things and people that have been around here. And some of these places that people take for granted they have like cultural and historical significance.
Fuck. You're right, Danny.
Take that.
Take that. Season 4, Righteous Gemstones. Adam Devine's coming in too to talk to us.
Oh, good.
I know.
He's just going to sit here and lie his ass off. That's all he does.
Well, yeah, he also he complains that he said he was getting that shin thing where he gets elongated or whatever.
Yeah.
He's made up a lot of stuff.
He's a sweet man. He'll be like another one that I'll miss seeing him every year. He's so awesome.
Yeah, it's weird when a set ends, when the shoot ends. It's just like it's the last day of school.
Yeah,
everybody's saying goodbye to everybody. You're getting all these photos, and then the next day or two, you're just in.
Everything's like back to normal. It's all but hopefully I get to keep in touch with a lot of these people.
Oh, for sure.
Walton Goggins and Edie Patterson. I met them on Vice Principals, and both of them are like two of my closest friends. So,
oh, really?
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get to keep in touch with these people. We played a family. Maybe we need to act like one. Yeah.
I like that challenge. Danny McBride, thanks so much for all the entertainment, dude, all the inspiration. And I just really appreciate your time, man. I hope you continue to make fun stuff. I'm sure you will. And congrats on getting to spend time with your kids.
Thank you, man. I hope you put that dick laser to good use, okay?
Don't you fucking worry. Don't you fucking worry. I'm putting this on some fucking bitch's back at the UFC fight this weekend. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you, buddy.
You bet. Thanks for this gift. Yeah, very nice.
You're going to use it. I can already tell.
Now I'm just floating on the breeze, and I feel I'm falling like these leaves. I must be cornerstone. Oh,